Connected. Hello? Hello? I do not have a microphone connected. I'm literally clicking live. Have no idea why I clicked live. I don't have a microphone connected. Oh my goodness. It's maybe a part of my job. And I don't have a microphone ready when clicking live. Wow, wow, wow. Plug it in my microphone and hopefully I sound halfway decent. Uh, um, does this work? Hello? 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 I have a microphone connected. Wait, you can hear me? This is crazy. You can't hear me. This is literally a part of my job, by the way. And I just don't have a microphone. It's crazy. One second. Um, while we're waiting though, I know people can hear me because I have a really bad microphone on the side. Go ahead and start dropping questions. I'm just gonna be kind of live streaming to like 10 people. I'm gonna be working on a tier list, and I'm gonna be answering some questions that are gonna go on my new Just Smarter Live page, where it's gonna be purely Q&A stuff and just stuff that's like unedited. So please drop questions. Drop questions while I go ahead and get this microphone ready. Okay.
All right. Hello. Hello. Let's turn this off. All right. Hello. Can y'all hear me now? It should be working. Cool. Cool. Uh. Okay. I man, I haven't live streamed in a while. Still trying to figure this out. You can hear that? Okay. This should sound a little better. Like I said, today we're just gonna be doing some questions. It's not gonna be a lot of people up in here because I gotta make a tier list for an upcoming YouTube video. Not upcoming, it's gonna take like a month. But I'm gonna work on this tier list now. So I'm gonna try to pull this chat to the side. I wonder if I could like remove the chat. No, not live dashboard. Let's not do that. Edit title, screen, copy link, live chat. Okay. I'm gonna send this into the Discord. No. Okay. We're gonna send this into Discord real quick. While I gotta work on that thumbnail. That thumbnail did not turn out how I wanted to. Okay. Boop boop. I'm gonna do Discord real quick. If you don't have an OVR, what free apps to track RSI? Because I want to run 11.2, 11.4 by May 2027. Now I go 12.3. That's actually a pretty good question. So what you can do is, let me go send this to the TSA chat. Speed Academy, um, at everyone. I'll answer that question in 1 second. Everyone, I am live right now. Come ask questions. Boom. We're going to copy this and then we're going to paste it in the non-Speed Academy group chat. Boom, boom. All right. Let's get into this first question. If you don't have OVR, what free apps can you use to track your reactive strength index? Because I want to run 11.2 to 11.4 in May 2027. Right now, I run 12.3. So actually, one of the best ways is you actually use your phone. I'm actually just going to show it this way. But essentially, what you would do is, let me pull up a quick little video of me doing some pogos. Or, oh my God, I don't remember the last time I did something that's like stiffness based. But so you pull up your Photos app and you get into this. This is what I talk about in all my videos on how to actually measure your sprint time. But essentially, when you're doing these type of pogos, which I'm not gonna be able to show well, but you're gonna find how much time you're spending on the ground, right? So a point when you're spending on the ground during like a hurdle hop, like what I'm doing right here, and then how much time you're in the air, and you're gonna do the math to divide it. Reactive strength index, if I'm not, I always get this backwards, and it's like I literally do this for a living, so I shouldn't. But like if it's 3.0 divided by 1.5, it should be, yeah, it should be air time divided by ground contact time. I always get this backwards. And that's all you do. So you don't really need an app at all. All those apps do is just do it for you when they just tell by the airtime, right? So there's really nothing else to it. Just use your phone, do the jump height, divide by the ground contact time, and you will be good to go with that one. You can do it with literally any type of photos app or videos app where you're able to get your airtime in milliseconds, your ground contact time in milliseconds, and then just divide it with a calculator. You don't need anything. It's all free. Even with Android as well. Keep dropping questions though. I'm gonna start working on this tier list, and I'm gonna put you guys into the side. I actually don't know where to start here. I also need to make sure that I'm not. I need to like turn off a few things, but okay. So tierlist.com, tier list maker. All right. We're gonna work on a max velocity tier list. I actually need a lot of exercises dropped in the chat on top of questions. So drop your questions, of course. But if you can also drop some exercise names so I could just start taking screenshots and filling it in, I'm going to start working on a max velocity tier list as well while we're doing all these questions. But I got some questions, so let me knock this out. Okay, what should I do for stamina/conditioning, like saying for a 400-meter runner? So you're a 400-meter runner, you want to work on your stamina/conditioning. Let's start off from like a year off view. This is going to be 90% of 400-meter runners, unless you're running like 48 or faster, then obviously you need to get more specific. But if you're not running that fast, then this is probably an approach that's going to work for everyone. You don't necessarily need a lot of endurance work when you're running the 400 meter because you need to be fast. So when you do the math on what fast 400 meter runners do, and we're talking about like the intermediate to elite levels, what you see in college and above, it's just a full-on sprint. It's purely how fast you are, sprint speed. So 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, all of those things need to be fast. So when someone tells you in high school, for example, they're like, you should run the 400-meter dash. Really what they're trying to tell you is that you're slow, right? They're trying to say, I know you want to run the 100-meter, but I really think you're built for the 400-meter dash. No one's built for the 400-meter dash, right? Yeah, technically taller people with longer femurs are going to be amazing for a 400-meter dash, but like you're just slow, right? You need to be faster in the 100-meter, in the 200-meter, and the 400-meter, right? So first, the base for the 400-meter, like outside of conditioning, is just raw speed. You need to be able to run 10-8, 10-9, 11, 11-1, 11-2. You cannot say, well, I run 11-8, but like for some reason I'm good at the 400-meter. No, you're just slow. You just need to get faster, and that is the base. If you're looking at it from a year out approach, if you compete, let's say 3 months out of the year, right? That's not really how high school works. You usually compete more like 4 to 6 months out of the year. But let's say you have a 6-month off season, okay? Early off season. So let's say the first 1 to 3 months of your off season, you just need to get faster, right? Work on your acceleration, work on your max velocity 3 times per week. You cannot have any other approach. If you start conditioning early off season, you're just going to tarnish your speed development, and that's going to be the most important thing that's going to make the biggest difference in your 400-meter dash. Then late off season, that's going to be maybe 1 to 2 months away from your season. Some people might look at this preseason. It just depends on how long your off season is. That's when you might want to start adding in some extensive tempo, not intensive tempo, extensive tempo. If you were to use something like an Apple Watch or any type of heart rate monitor, this would be like a zone 2 cardio type of range. You never really be going past zone 2. We're not doing the whole rest period stuff where you're like running 100 meters and you're resting 30 seconds and running again. No, we're going to rest long. We're not trying to kill you. It's actually going to feel very easy and like you're not doing anything, right? But this is just to build that aerobic base that, like, if you were to look at a triangle of like pure aerobic, like what the marathon runners and the mile runners are able to do, the base of that pyramid, right? I actually will show you the base of the pyramid if I could find it. But the base of that pyramid would be aerobic base, zone 2 cardio. So we're just going to get in zone 2 cardio, 10 to 20 minutes. That could be in tempo runs because people just like tempo. They think it's magical. Sure, go ahead. Do tempo runs 2 times per week. But for some people, just run zone 2. Then in preseason and in season, that's when we start introducing speed endurance because once again, you cannot have endurance without speed. So you need to develop speed first in your early off season and in your late off season. Slowly introduce aerobic work that's at a very low level just for the base, just for the raw magnitude of miles under your belt. And that's what you're going to do in the late off season after you built some more speed. And you want to be building speed at the same time, by the way. I mean, really, if you had 12 months, I wouldn't even be doing this until you're like 6 months of building speed straight. But either way, right? Just to answer the question, because I understand it's probably high schooler, right? So yeah, you're gonna start adding in that zone 2 cardio, and then you throw in speed endurance. And your speed endurance, you want to start off small. You do not do 300-meter sprints. You do 100-meter sprints, right? Anything past 6 seconds is speed endurance, or some people might say 7 seconds. Anything past 6 to 7 seconds is going to be speed endurance. So you're going to do 100-meter sprints. Slowly add 50 meters every 1 to 4 weeks once your technique can match it. So you're not breaking down in terms of posture during that 200 to 400 meter range. And the farthest you would go to develop speed endurance for the 400 meter dash, I would say is probably 250s to 300s, but I would do most of your work in the 150s. Once again, speed endurance, if you don't know what that is, you're just sprinting maximal for that distance, but then you're resting a lot. So you're going to be resting anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes after your speed endurance sprint. And you're only going to get 1 to 3 reps in here. You only need to do it 1 time per week because it's extremely fatiguing, but it's going to make the biggest difference in terms of your ability to run faster in a 400 meter dash. The only other thing that I'll add in terms of conditioning, I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing this if you don't know what you're doing, is zone 4 cardio. Because if you did something like the 4x4 method, so you go like hard for 4 minutes and then rest for 4 minutes, but that hard is a zone 4, so you have a heart rate monitor and you're able to hit that zone. If you go too low, then you're not going to stimulate the right like aerobic systems, that anaerobic like endurance system or the aerobic power. But if you go too hard, you're just going to burn out. You're going to get terrible quality reps. So if you hit that zone 4 and then you rest and you do that 4x4 method, I forgot like what country made that up, but you can also do like just 10 to 20 minutes straight of zone 4 cardio. But in straight meaning like you go 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and you do that repeatedly for 10 to 20 minutes straight. That's also another thing that can help with like the lactic acid threshold and all of like the inability for helping your body stop from decelerating towards the end. But at the end of the day, if you're slow or you're fast, you're going to decelerate no matter what. So the biggest thing is getting in there faster. That way, when you are going to decelerate and you're going to have to grind the last 100 meters, it doesn't matter because you're just so fast that you already created that distance that even if you aren't conditioned for it, doesn't matter, right? So build speed, slowly throw in tempo work, and then make sure you do the speed endurance work very minimal, right? 1 to 4 reps, 8 to 15-minute rest between each rep. And you do that maybe 1 time per week during your preseason, right before you get into like working with your team and stuff like that. That was a very long-winded answer, but like I said, this is unscripted. I'm not good unscripted. You can obviously tell that a lot of my videos are scripted, right? But I want to do a Q&A YouTube channel. So this is how we're going to do it. When filming with your phone, make sure to have a locked frame rate rather than variable frame rate, which happens often when shooting automatic mode. Dang, I didn't even know that. I just lock mines at the highest frame rate I can. But yeah, if you have for some reason something that isn't locked, then make sure that is locked, right? Would you insist on only speed training over the summer? My schedule consists of Excel and a top end day, 2 days of active rest in between, and working on tempos sometimes. I think that's a perfect system. Honestly, I would almost never do endurance in your early off season. You would have to be an endurance based sport like 800 meters, 1600 meter, right? You're a mile runner, 800 meter runner. But for most sports, everything's limited by speed. So, like, if you're trying to maximize recovery but get in as much speed training as possible, I would do 2 acceleration days and 1 top end speed day. But for most people, they can't even recover from that. So I would just do an early acceleration day and then a max velocity day. Spread that out by like 72 hours, which is what you're already doing, and that's going to be like pretty optimal. If you're going to throw in active rest, then you could obviously throw in tempo those days. But let's say you did like 72 hours, so you did like Monday as an early acceleration, and then you did Tuesday, Wednesday as active rest, and then you sprinted Thursday. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you mean, but let's just use that for example. If you have those 2 days of rest, that first day after you're sprinting, right after acceleration day, then throw in the tempo, and then make that Wednesday fully resting or fully recovery, and then you go into the max velocity day, and then once again, Thursday would be that extensive or intensive tempo. Friday would be full rest. Saturday would be full rest, and if you're doing like asynchronous, then you would sprint like Saturday or Sunday. If you're not, then yeah, Monday you would be sprinting. So I hope that helps. But yes, extensive, intensive SC1, SC2. I don't really know what you mean by that question. Sorry, Coach. Coach, how can I adjust the Speed Academy training and the academy I've joined? People say it's one of the best clubs in the UK. I don't know, right? Like, when it comes to the Speed Academy, I think the most important thing is always getting the acceleration training, right? If you don't have access to a sled, that's going to matter more than anything else we do, right? The lifting can be really important if your club is doing a lot of sprinting, but they're not lifting, right? If your club only does conditioning, right, and they're doing a lot of lifting and conditioning, so they're running a bunch of 200-meter repeats, a bunch of 300-meter repeats, a bunch of like long distance running, but they're not doing real like block training. You're not racing people. You're not timing your fly tens. You're not timing your sprints in general. Then you need to do the sprinting in the Speed Academy. If your club team is doing a bunch of sprinting, they're even doing lifting, but maybe you never touched a bound, you never do drop jumps, you never do def jumps, you never do broad jumps, then you need to do the plyometrics, right? So my best advice to you would probably be just look at your club's plan, write down, do a week of your club's training plan, right? Whatever they have you doing, you're doing it with people too, which is awesome to be able to train with people, right? Write down everything, literally write on a piece of paper. This is exercise 1, this is exercise 2. Look at it, then look at the Speed Academy, compare these 2 papers, look at the app, look at the website, or look at put it on paper too, right? Compare it and just do what you're not getting in. That way you have a fully balanced plan. Because I was also a part of one of the best clubs when I was in high school. And back then I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, right? This is great training. I'm doing my thing. I'm getting faster. I'm getting a little bit better just because I'm training, just because I have a low training age. And in general, just doing work is going to help sometimes, right? But then when I look back at it, when I got older, I was like, it was ass, right? Like, respect to everyone, but the training was ass. So it's like, it could be the best team in the world, but it just has the best athletes, or is it the best team in terms of training, right? Is it offering the best periodized plan for you? That's like the hard part. And I'm not trying to say like I'm the almighty guy who has the best plan for you. I might not have the best plan. The Speed Academy might not even be the best option for you. But I think that is just something food for thought. You said my audio is mad low? All right, how is this now? Yo, my friend's strong as hell, not elastic. How do I get him fast this summer? Let me redo this because that's the intro. Yo, my friend is strong ash, but not elastic. How do I get him fast this summer? If he's strong but not elastic, he just needs to do more sprinting, right? You know my rule in all my videos, I talk about 80 to 90% elastic work and 10 to 20% of strength training work. So if he's very strong, he probably did more than 10 to 20% of strength training relative to his elastic work. So that's sprinting, plyometrics, jumping, and throws. So make sure he's just doing more. That's the first step. Some other like little, I don't want to say hacks, but I guess training modalities that you could try to move the needle a little bit more is start doing elastic based days. So like in the Speed Academy right now, or Speed Strength, whatever one you're on, you would know what I'm talking about if you're on the app. But we'll do like Mondays acceleration. We do our sprints or jumps, blah, blah, blah. And then we do our lifts. And then Wednesdays, a plyometric day. So we actually do like anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes of skipping. And it's really long. It's almost like conditioning in a way where we're almost doing like a tempo run, but it's all elastic plyometrics that are low intensity. And then Friday, we do our max velocity sprinting and then our lifting. Those type of like weekly setups where we have a day that increases the total elastic volume relative to your strength can be really helpful. And of course, like it's fine to be strong. It's fine to still lift a lot, but just respect velocity at the end of the day, right? You have to do something that's high velocity. A lot of people are strong, but it's not transferring over to sprinting. They're usually just strong with good compensation, right? So like, oh, I squat 2 times my body weight, and then you watch them squat and they're doing this shit right here. They're just like here, they're here, and they're like, and then it just looks like this, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you squat 2 times your body weight, like cool, right? That's not actually going to transfer to anything. So also like make sure that he's squatting and lifting and deadlifting or whatever lifts that he's strong at with extremely, extremely good technique, because it's extremely easy to compensate and mess things up. And I think people don't respect that sometimes. Sometimes they're like, well, I got kind of close to parallel, so that means I'm strong enough. It's good enough. It's never good enough. There's a reason why people are elite. It's because everything they do has very high intention. So focus on velocity. Do a lot more elastic-based plyos. Sprinting, jumping, throws should be majority of your training relative to the lifting, right? Once you fix that, that's like the 90% of everything. And then you can get to small modalities of like increasing velocity, doing 40 to 60% of your body weight, working on the eccentric, right? So like oh my God, I'm like super choked up today. Some people will like do slow down, slow up. You can start doing like fast down. So eccentric rate of force development training. You can do concentric rate of force development training where you pause and work on like electrical mechanical delay, like that neural signal to help you explode off of overcoming inertia, right? So all those things can be really helpful. Kuma, you just said I'm yapping when you asked me a question at the same time? All right, I got you next time. All right, bro. Can you increase Mike's volume? Did it get better? I should have got better. All right, hello? This might be a little bit loud, but okay. Can I still make significant progress if I'm not lifting frequently as I'd like to, but I'm still doing plyos and sprinting 2 times per week? Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that lifting is such a small portion of it, and it's usually like it depends on who you talk to, right? So, for example, a lot of people on the Speed Academy are actually fairly strong. We work on really heavy strength training, but it's for like a completely different reason than what most people think. When people are like, "Oh, lifting improves your speed, lifting improves your vertical," they're like, "It improves your force capabilities, right? It can improve your ability to produce more max force." A lot of that is completely theoretical. Like there isn't real scientific mechanisms to actually prove that. The good sides of lifting is going to be like improving motor unit recruitment, improving rate coding, some things about co-contractions depending on the way you do the lifting, isolating certain aspects like rate of force development concentrically or eccentric rate of force development or isometric dynamic strength, right? All these are like cool, fun words that kind of matter and they can be used if you really know what you're doing in the weight room. But guess what? The cool part is that sprinting and plyometrics and jumping, right? I separate all three for a reason. Sprinting's different than jumping, and jumping's different from plyometrics. They're all different modalities, but these three modalities all isolate the isometrics, the eccentrics, the concentric rate of force development, the peak power, all the things that you want, you can get from sprinting and jumping, right? So lifting, depending on how you look at it, if you want to isolate all those things because you really know what you're doing, that's good. But you can also just lift for the sake of movement quality, which is what you see a lot at the highest levels, right? You see these guys lifting and they're not really improving force capabilities or athletic traits. They're really just doing it just that way they can get full ankle range of motion, so they can lengthen the hamstrings and keep it from straining at high loads at high speeds, right? So I wouldn't say you have to lift, right? I think you can make significant progress with just sprinting and jumping. But if you're only sprinting and doing plyometrics, you got to make sure you're getting in resisted sprints and you're getting in some loaded jumps, right? And if you can't do loaded jumps, then you have to manipulate the eccentric to give you down more forces. So that means doing stuff like def jumps and drop jumps, or something where the eccentric is harder on the way down. That way you can overload some aspect of force. Speed reserve is king. That's Bars. He understands it. What would you recommend for long distance runners to increase your speed? I was faster at sprinting and 400 meter when I started, but then I got faster as a long distance runner. My raw speed died. It's just raw speed work, right? It's so funny because people don't know that I actually used to be a pretty high level cross country runner before I got into sprinting and even coaching sprinting. And when I was a really high level cross country runner, I was naturally fast because I also played sports like basketball and I did a little bit of football at the time. But when we, like our cross country coach, we would do all of these speed workouts, right? Speed workouts. We would do a really in-depth, like long distance plan, which is like some lactic threshold days, some really long runs that were like 2 to 4 hours long, like all these type of things. But then our speed day, 1 time per week, by the way, we would do repeat 100-meter sprints, right? Like that's not speed development. We kind of race each other. We kind of, cross country runners, they get on their fucking Apple Watch. They all fucking start in the goddamn 2 point start. And they're like, okay, ready, set, go. And they're like, and they just like jog into the sprint and then they start going for 100 meters. It wasn't fucking speed training, right? So that type of stuff, like you need real speed training. You need to get in blocks. You need to set up timing gates, run 0 to 20 meters one day for acceleration, and then do plyometrics afterward, like broad jumps. And then you need a real fly 10 day where you actually build up for 20 to 30 meters at your max speed. And once you hit that max speed, that's going to be at the zone. Then you're going to sprint as hard as possible for 10 meters and then rest long, right? Not long distance rest where we run 200 meters and then we rest 1 minute and then repeat it again. No, we're going to sprint and sit for 5 minutes straight. That's real speed development that is very helpful for long distance runners. You just don't need as much frequency of it because you need to do your long distance training. So you actually can pair it with your long distance days where you like do 4 resisted sprints or 4 acceleration sprints, 4 times 20 yards, and then get your long distance runs all in the same session, right? Exactly what I have, and thank you. I don't really know what I'm responding to. Okay, yeah, cool. So I guess I hope I just gave you some clarification, made you feel better about your training, right? How long after doing sled pulls with 30% of body weight should I rest before 30-yard sprints? It just depends on the distance, right? So with the resisted sprinting too, it's the same as acceleration sprinting. Do 1 to 2 minutes per 10 yards. So if you did like resisted sprinting of 30% of body weight sled pull for usually this can be like anywhere from 10 to 30 yards. You're going to be resting either 1 minute for 10 yards or 2 minutes for 10 yards, 2 to 4 minutes for 20 yards, and then 3 to 6 minutes for 30 yards. And then you get into your 30-yard sprint. Even if you're doing contrast too, by the way. So if that's what you meant, like if you're doing like a superset, like that type of contrast, then you're going to go like resistance sprint. You want to rest 1 to 3 minutes. You do not want to do in a superset where you go like 30 seconds and then go into your 30-yard sprint. A lot of people get that all types of messed up. You do not want to do short rest periods in between. Damn, there's a lot of questions, bro. I'm sorry if it's taking me forever to get there. I'm very long-winded with my answers today. I'm starting the new speed strength program tomorrow. I have 30 weeks until off season. Is it okay if I start from early off season, 7th week? No, I would just start early off season, week 1, and then when you hit like the date where you need to go to late off season, you can skip there. But I would just finish early off season all the way through, and then skip to like preseason if you need to. I would not start at week 7 of early off season. But thank you very much for joining the speed strength. It is still like you're on the right plan. I would just do early off season from the start, or start at late off season, like off rip. But I would probably just do early off season, finish the whole thing, and then go into preseason. But I mean, that was a very good question though. Like you're thinking the right way. In your program, you do 3 times per week sprinting. At first, it worked, but I can't recover from the sessions right now. Should I switch to 2? Yes. I talk about this all the time in the Discord, right? So sometimes we do, this is why the new speed strength program, we're actually doing a 2 times frequency of sprinting. So you only sprint on Monday and Friday, because I just realized that most people, when you sprint the way I teach people to sprint, you're truly going maximal, you're truly timing, you're racing, you cannot handle the volume, right? You can't handle the frequency, because volume, it can be equated just depending on how long the workouts are, but you can't handle that frequency, especially when you're timing every sprint, really resting and going maximal, so you're either racing someone or timing, right? So I would do 2. I would do 1 acceleration day and 1 max velocity day. Now, if you're a track and field athlete, I would do the acceleration max velocity. If you're a football athlete, I would actually do 2 acceleration days. So I would do leg acceleration, rest for 72 hours or even 4 full days straight, and then do the early acceleration day, because max velocity is going to matter a lot less. So as long as you're doing like those longer acceleration sprints, like 30 to 40 yards, you're going to get that max velocity stimulus you need anyways. Are those good goals? I don't know what goals you have. Oh, like going 11.2 from 12.3? If you're on the Speed Academy, it's possible, right? It just depends. It depends on how good you train. Because that's another thing too. People join the Speed Academy and they assume they're just going to get results. You have to also train right? At the end of the day, I'm not your trainer in front of you. I'm not physically teaching you how to train correctly. I'm just showing you like the most optimal plan on a piece of paper that might not be optimal for you. So you have to really make sure that you're training correctly with good intent and good habits and good nutritional habits outside of training to actually make those type of gains. But it is possible. Is it good if I train acceleration, then the next day do legs, then do top speed, then do arms with no days in between? No, we do not do legs. I teach this all the time. Actually, go watch my video right here. Tier list, so this looks crazy, but watch my video right here. We do not do leg days. That is a no-go when it comes to speed development, right? We do the high-low split. All right, I teach in this video. It's just a high-low split. There's nothing special to it, but we never do leg days, right? You teach movement patterns after your sprinting. So you do sprint, jump, throw. That is how we do our sprint workout. Sprint, jump, plyo, throw. Then in the weight room, we do a squat, a hinge, a calf raise. Squats can be multiple categories. So this could be a barbell back squat. This can be a hack squat. This can be a split squat. This can be a rear foot elevated split squat. This can be a Bulgarian split squat. Those are all the same thing, by the way. It can be a lateral lunge, right? There's so many different ways to do it. That's your squat pattern. Then you have hinge pattern. You can do high pulls. You can work on deadlifts if you need deadlift strength. You can do RDLs, right? The RDLs, so not deadlift, but like a Romanian deadlift. You can do SLDLs, right? All of these are hinge patterns. You can do 45-degree back extension. You can do a sprint-specific hip iso. Hinge, right? Not exercises, not a leg day. Hinge, squat, hinge, and then calf raise. You do a standing calf raise. You do a single leg calf raise with a Smith machine or with a barbell or dumbbells. You can do seated calf raise. You can do the sprint-specific ankle iso hold on a leg press or a Smith machine, right? Those are movement patterns, not just exercises. You don't just throw a leg day together. You do sprint, jump, plyometric, throw, then squat, hinge, calf raise. That is a complete workout that works for 90% of athletes. Do not have a leg day. You don't even need an arms day. All right, you need to look up Jeff Nippard. And if you don't want to look up Jeff Nippard, you want to go deeper into the science-based lifting community, you need to look up like Keenan, or you need to look up TNF, right? Your muscles recover from something called mechanical tension, right? So I'm going to a whole nother rant here. But your muscles recover from something called, or not recover, your muscles grow from something called mechanical tension, right? So that's just essentially how close you are training to failure. And there's a bunch of science to it. Just train close to failure. When you train close to failure, you actually train 0 to 1 reps in reserve. Then your body cannot handle volume, right? Especially muscles that are fast twitch muscle fiber dominant, which is going to be your biceps, your triceps, and your chest. These muscles react the worst to volume because they cannot handle high volumes when they're fast twitch muscle fiber dominant, right? So what that means is after around, let's say, 3 to 5 working sets in a total session. So working sets, so the sets that you actually push hard, your body's not going to see further stimulus because it's going to have to break down the muscle for it to recover. So it's not actually going to adapt and grow by a couple grams, by the way, but it's not actually going to adapt and grow. So if you're doing an arms day, meaning you're doing like 8 to 10 sets of a muscle group in one workout, you're not growing at all. It doesn't matter if you save some reps in reserve, if you go to failure every single set, you're just wrecking your muscle and doing, honestly, cardio. Like, it's kind of a joke, the TikTokers who say that shit in the comments, but you're really just doing cardio, right? You only need 2 sets of biceps, 2 sets of triceps in a workout, which means arms days are kind of useless. Throw them onto an upper day, and if your arms are a weak point, then throw them at the beginning of the workout, right? If you want proof, you can go look at my Instagram. You'll see proof. And then leg day is the exact same thing, right? You're not stimulating your legs after doing 10 fucking sets of squats, leg extensions, and then another fucking leg press that's all knee dominant, right? You're going to stimulate your legs from doing 2 good fucking sets close to failure of a knee dominant goddamn back squat, right? So please stop doing leg day, stop doing arm day. How to stop overstepping and hitting the figure 4 when I'm lying plot. What? How to stop overstriding and hitting figure 4 when I'm sprinting, doing plyos on acceleration and max velocity day. I'm gonna skip this question. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to just retype it with a little bit better grammar. I have no idea what you're saying. Let's do this one. I looked at your channel and there are so many exercises for building speed, but I feel like doing maybe 3 specific exercises for max speed and acceleration. Would you suggest? Yeah, so that's what I just talked about. There isn't many exercises, right? I make the videos of like the only 2 exercises, the only 3, and I just spam it 1,000 times because it's honestly great for views and it helps teach my message. But when you watch the videos, I don't just throw exercises at people. I teach fundamentals of training. Here are the fundamentals. Sprinting. Sprinting is just one exercise, right? You could do kneeling sprints, you could do push-up sprints, you could do resistance sprinting, you could do 2-point sprints, 2-point start sprints, you could do 3-point sprints. It's just sprinting, right? Jumping. You could do def jumps, you could do broad jumps, you could do standing triple jump. They're all just jumps. At the end of the day, pick one that you feel like fits your goals and then progress on it over time. Plyometrics. You could do bounds, you could do pogos, you could do drop jumps, you could do def jumps, you could do single leg hopping, right? All of these are different exercises, but they're just a plyometric. Pick one, improve at it, improve the ground contact time and the output over time. A squat pattern, deep squat, half squat, hack squat, Smith squat, barbell squat, they're all just squat patterns. Pick one, stick with it. Hinge, RDL, back extensions, glute ham raises, Nordic curls, seated hamstring curls. They're all just hinges. Just pick one and stick with it and get better. Same thing with the calf raise. You got seated calf raise, standing calf raise, Smith machine, barbell. They're all the same thing. So yes, you see my channel, I say the only 2 exercises of every single category in the fucking world. None of it matters. Just pick the movement patterns in that workout, adjust it to fit your goals off of watching my videos about the only exercises you need, or exercise videos where I break down everything to understand the little minute details, the real science behind it. But after that, just pick one and stick with it. It really is not that many exercises. It's what, 4 movement patterns on the field and then 3 movement patterns in the weight room. It's not that many exercises at all. For some reason, my 40-yard dash is 5.4 and my fly 10 is 2.4. You think I run a 12.3 to 12.4? I did gain 10 pounds in the offseason, but still sprinting mostly water weight. If you gain 10 pounds on the scale, that was not mostly water weight in like one day, right? So like if you gained 10 pounds, if you were like 190 one day and the next day you're 200 in the next 1 to 2 days, then yes, that's water weight. But if you like over the course of an entire summer, you started the summer like in May at 190 and then in August you're 200 pounds consistently for like a few days in a row, you are straight up, you gain fat, right? I just hate to be that guy. It's just the truth. It's not how water weight works. Does deep front squat build more top end than deep back squats, or is the same thing as deep back squatting only significantly improving acceleration? Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. When it comes to deep front squats versus deep back squats, the biggest change is that because you're doing that front squat position, you're gonna force your torso more upright. And when you force your torso, wow, I cannot talk today. Your torso more upright, you're gonna make the movement more knee dominant, right? So I can just show it here. It's really simple. If you're doing a glute dominant squat, you're gonna look like this, right? You're not gonna get full knee bend. When you're in this front squat position, you stay more upright. Look at this full knee bend. I don't have the ankle mobility to keep my feet on the ground, but when you look at that full knee bend, that's gonna be really helpful for acceleration, in my opinion, and it's not gonna have much transfer over to max velocity. Now, general tissue size in your quads is really important for max velocity because we know that ankle stiffness matters less during max velocity, and what actually matters a lot more is your knee stiffness, so the quad joint and the knee tendon, the patella tendon, and then your hip stiffness. So how much your hips can stay stiff at ground contact time matters a lot more in max velocity. So general tissue size, general muscle size, general strength in the quads might matter for top end sprinting, but because the eccentric rate of force of movement is so high, you getting stronger in a deep squat is not going to be very transferable. It's going to be some of the most general training you could possibly do for top end speed, and there's so much more science to it of why it could be like really, really bad for you. So I wouldn't say that. Yo, chill. I just joined. Appreciate your. Oh, sorry. So I wouldn't say that it's going to have any transfer over to top end speed, but the reason why it's going to be really transferable to acceleration because it actually matches the joint angles you see in acceleration. So your shin drops forward, you get the ankle mobility benefits, and then you get that you're producing force in a disadvantageous position since you aren't in an advantageous position when you're all the way in a deep squat, right? I was about to do another freaking I was about to do another video trying to break it down, but I don't have it in me right now. I'm so tired. So yeah, I wouldn't say that either help top end speed at all, right? I would say that's going to be all plyometrics and isometric strength training. But I will say that they both help acceleration, probably giving the slight edge to front squats for acceleration, only because you get to keep your torso more upright and the knee bend a lot more. And also your quad's a stabilizer in acceleration. So because it's biarticular muscle group, the rectus femoris, it has to stabilize your torso. So when you're projecting out at a 45-degree angle, for example, you would fall on your face if you aren't able to stabilize at a quad. So to stop your body from falling on your face, you just pop right up, right? So it forces your body to go straight vertical in acceleration. So having that ability to stabilize at the quad is going to allow you to get deeper, get lower, and project out at a more horizontal angle. So I would say the deep squats of any kind is going to be more acceleration based. And almost no transfer to top speed, in my opinion. Yo, chill. I just joined. I appreciate you for... Dude, you cursed me out in my goddamn chat like 3 times. And then said I'm yapping. What are you talking about, bro? What? Okay. And then you said yacht. Like, dude, get out of here, bro. What are you talking about? Respect, though. Respect. I know you're trolling. I know you're just joking. Like, it's not that deep. The main reason for heavy lifting is motor unit recruitment, tendon stiffness, and endocrine system. Yeah, like, that's really all it is, right? So it's still helpful at the end of the day, especially if you're doing like isometric strength training or like eccentric overload. If you're using like specific modalities, right? Like you're trying to isolate or overload a specific aspect, then it can be helpful, right? But I wouldn't say that like just in general heavy lifting is gonna have high transfer. Would you say getting stronger in your squat at max full range of motion would make you able to move and handle more force in sprinting? All right, would you say getting stronger in your squat, max full range of motion, would make you able to move and handle more force in sprinting? That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a good question. I would say no. And the only reason is because your ability to handle more force in sprinting is going to be something called eccentric rate of force development. So there's a few things to it. Like there's the tendon side where it's like how much can you store and release elastic energy, but it's also how much rate of force development can you have on the eccentric, so your ability to decelerate your body. That is not going to be trained very well during heavy strength training, right? Even when you're improving relative strength, you might be overloading the eccentric component, right? So if you're doing maybe eccentric overload, like a 2-to-1 squat, then that can be really helpful for improving like the potential. But even if you improve the potential from eccentric overload strength training, you still need some aspect of eccentric rate of force development work to help improve your ability to handle more force during sprinting. So you could do that through stuff like def jumps and bounding and single leg hopping and even like sprints into bounds or sprints into straight leg bounding. All these are ways to overload the eccentric at high velocities. But if you just got strong, it builds the general tissue that also does help you be able to handle those movements a little bit better in some aspects in the future. But you would still be better off just starting day one doing single leg hopping and improving your ability to pre-tense and oscillate the hips, the knee, the ankle complex all at once before going to strength training and then doing plyometrics afterwards. So I wouldn't say it's useless. I just wouldn't say that it's going to help you handle more force during sprinting. A lot of creators be gatekeeping knowledge. So again, appreciate it. Oh yeah, you're good. I appreciate you. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, my microphone's probably still quiet. I don't even know. Oh, I did your 8-week free speed program, ran it back twice, no gym. The gym exercises I switched to ballistic plyos and horizontal plyo stuff. 0.3 faster in 40 yards, broad jump from 8.6 to 9.3. Yeah, man. I mean, you can get faster and get more powerful with zero strength training, right? Good work. I'm glad that my free stuff works. My free stuff works, bro. Like people, you can pay me. It's cool. But like I gave all the free stuff in the world, for over the last like 5 to 6 years. Should I be doing the same warm-up drills I do it in practice in meets? Yeah, you should be changing nothing during meets. Meets is just another practice, right? That mentality you've heard from some coaches is 100% true. The only time you need to perform is at state and at nationals, or depending on like if you're in college or at the Olympic level, the pro level, then it's a little bit different. But no, it's the same thing as practice. Chilbur broad jump went from 27 feet to 28.5 feet, 0 to 10, 1.86 to 1.72. Thanks, man. No, thank you, man. DM me on Instagram and send me that little your progress. Send me your progress. I was able to use your videos and the sprint project to improve my 100 meter from 14.4 to 10.98 in 1 year. You're the GOAT. Hey, bro, if that's hand time, I need you to DM me on Instagram. Or I'm sorry, if that's laser time, FAT, right? You did like electronic meet, please DM me on Instagram. If it was hand time, still good job. That's still improvement, but I'm happy for you. How do you recommend scheduling yourself if you're doing vert program, but maybe got skills training 5 times a week or games? Okay. How would you recommend scheduling yourself if you're doing your vertical jump program? He's referring to just jump, but maybe you got skills training 5 times per week or pickup or games, etc. And pickup or games, etc. So it's a good question. I would do high intensity days high and low intensity days low. So skills trainings you have, especially with basketball, because I am fairly nuanced in basketball since I've trained it with a while and I obviously studied a lot of PGF. Your high days are high. So think of live games, think of 1v1s, think of 1v2s, think of small sided games, and think of pickup basketball or your actual like 5v5 basketball like regulation. That's your high days. Your low days are going to be jump shots, right? So you're just shooting like 150 jump shots from 3. It's all stationary. You're doing stationary ball handling. You're moving with the ball, but it's like slow velocity. You're not sprinting and decelerating fast, right? You're not doing any hard cuts. That's your low intensity days. So match the high days with the high and the low days with the low. So let's say you're training 5 days per week. Let's say you do pickup basketball and that's your main skill development or your games, right? That's your main skill development Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Guess what? Just jump is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? So your high intensity day, Monday. So you do your vertical jump training, hopefully, if you can, 6 hours before your skill development. Then you go play basketball with your guys or do 5v5 or do some 1v1s, 1v2s, small sided games. Later that day, 6 hours later, same thing on Wednesday, same thing on Friday. Then Tuesday, we do our mobility and we do a recovery and our upper body training. That's when you do your jump shots, your stationary ball handling, your passing drills, and maybe you're studying basketball a little bit. Hopefully that helps you. And obviously, like, cut back the volume just a little bit and just jump, like just a few sets on each exercise. And get in, like, remove what you're already getting in. So if you have a bunch of extensive plyometrics in just jump, then remove that because that's what basketball is, a lot of extensive plyometrics, some maximal efforts. Could power position or pocket hinklings and snatches help with sprints? Depends on who you're talking to. I'm gonna give a say so. An acceleration session, do I do unresisted 20 yards before or after sled 20 yards? And what volume do you generally recommend? Damn, y'all are hitting me with questions, bro. I am behind. All right. I need to start moving faster, bro. Okay. In acceleration session, do I do unresisted 20-yard sprints before or after sled resisted sprints for 20 yards? And what volume do you usually recommend? So when you're trying to contrast resisted sprints into unresisted sprints, I usually would start with resisted sprinting of anywhere from 10 to 50% body weight for the 20 yards, and then I would do one unresisted. If you're doing that where you like do your resisted, then you rest 2 to 3 minutes, and then do your unresisted, and then you rest like 2 to 6 minutes, I would probably only do anywhere from 3 to 4 reps there of each. So that'd be like 6 to 8 total sprints. If you're doing like a bunch of unresisted sprinting, which I also do sometimes, and you do the resisted sprinting afterwards as like a strength development, then you could do 6 to 8 unresisted sprints and then like 2 to 6 resisted sprints. It depends on like the goal of it. But if your goal is to contrast and get that max power output, then I would do one resisted into one unresisted, and I repeat that anywhere from like 3 to 5 times. How would I contrast resisted sprinting if my goal is to work on early phase of acceleration? Yeah, so that's kind of like what I talked about this last one too. That's another thing that I low-key forgot to say. Like, I only said that for 20 yards. So, like, for example, in one of the Speed Academy workouts, we do a bunch of 5-yard sprints because we're working at early acceleration, so that's 10 yards or below. In that case, we did 12 resisted 5-yard sprints. So that's like a 3-step. I might call it 3 steps. I might call it 5 yards. So because we did three steps or 5 yards, we did 10 to 12 sets, and then we did our like 2 to 4 unresisted time sprints. But if you're like doing farther resisted sprinting of like 10 to 30 yards, then you have to cut the sets down and just kind of equate volume to like anywhere from 80 to 150 yards total of sprinting. And yes, resisted sprinting also counts towards your total of unresisted sprints if the resistance is under 30% or under. If you're doing like 50 to 80% body weight and it's like almost like a march, then I wouldn't count that towards your total sprinting volume for the day. Are you on creatine? Yes, I am on creatine. I can bring over the brand. It's just something from Costco. It's like the little gummies that have like D3K2. They probably don't have creatine in them half the time because most of those brands are kind of shit. But yes, I do take creatine. But am I taking? Oh, is creatine good for sprinting? Oh, it's hard. It's hard. I don't know. I do know. Yeah, I live with my girlfriend is getting her PhD in dietetics. I just think it's like hard because in terms of like power output, I think sometimes the power output benefits and the strength benefits you get from creatine are a little bit overrated. Like, yes, you are going to get stronger in the weight room. That's amazing. But is that really that amazing for speed development? That's a hard one, right? But then guess what? When you hop on creatine, you gain 5 to 10 pounds. Is that amazing for speed development? Well, we know gaining 5 to 10 pounds, it's not that good for speed development, right? I've done so many videos on this. I haven't talked about it in a while, but every like 3.4 pounds of fat gained, even sometimes in water weight, can slow you down by 0.1 to 0.2 seconds in the 40-yard dash. And that also equates over to the 100-meter dash. So it's like, if you're taking creatine for like overall athleticism benefits, like I'm taking creatine for jumping because that's way different. You can gain a lot of weight and be perfectly fine. Even as a 1 foot jumper, I can dunk off 1 foot and 2 feet at 5'7". So yeah, creatine's perfectly fine when it comes to jumping. For sprinting, because like ground contact times are so specific and weight is so sensitive in sprinting, you just gotta know what you're doing, right? You just gotta be careful. I'm not saying it's bad. Trust me, I'm not trying to say it's bad. I'm just saying you just gotta know what you're doing. So after I finish early off-season program, which is 12 weeks, and preseason program, which is 12 weeks, before 2 programs, should I do the first 6 or last weeks of the state of season program? Oh, the in-season program? Yeah, I mean, you can also just do early off-season for 16 weeks and then do preseason for like 14 weeks. Like, you can just extend the weeks by another 2 weeks and just do the same thing over and over again and just kind of get that extra little thing. It's not gonna make a huge difference. Is all I'm saying. Like, you got in the freaking 12 to 24 weeks of work, right? So it's like you can just add in some extra weeks. It's not gonna kill you. There's no excuse if you guys have no sleds. I don't have a sled right now, but I just do hills, different inclines, very steep, sometimes not. Best exercise to improve first 20 meters for sure. Yeah, it's true. There really is no excuse. The world is not flat. I promise you, you'll find something, even if it's concrete, no grass, you can't put spikes on. There's something with hill, right? You can find some street with a hill. So I do agree. During high-low split, I'm confused at the low days where I do my upper body work since I don't know how much volume I should do for my exercises. Okay, so it's really simple, right? I'm more of a low volume guy, so this might sound like kind of jarring to you, but this is how you do upper body day for a athlete. You do a vertical push, so think shoulder press. A vertical pull, so think pull up, pull down. A horizontal push, chest press, chest fly, and a horizontal pull, rows, rows, right? You pick the angle of the arm path for every exercise depending on your goal. That part you can search up, right? So, like for example, if you want to bias your lats during a row, any row you pick, whether it's dumbbell, it's machine, or barbell, tucked elbow. If you want to bias your upper back, your traps during a row, then you do wide elbow. Anything, right? Machine, T-bar, anything, just wide elbow, right? If you want to focus on your side delts and your front delts in a shoulder press, then you do flared elbow. Boom. If you want to bias your upper chest and your front delts during a shoulder press, you do tucked elbow. Boom. Nothing special. Now, those are the 4 movement patterns. How do you do it? 2 sets each exercise, 6 to 10 reps each exercise for progressive overload. If you're trying to improve raw strength, that might not transfer that much over into strength. That much over into hypertrophy, then you do like the 2 to 5 rep range or 2 to 6 rep range. And that's like, I'm trying to improve my bench press for the sake of having a big bench press, whether it's like football or something like that, right? Or if it's like power output and you're trying to do like a fast velocity, like Smith machine bench throw, and you're trying to throw the bench for power output and raise force development, then you do like that 2 to 6 rep range. And then you could increase the sets in that case scenario. And you could do like 2 to 6 sets of like 2 to 4 reps, for example. So that's how I would do a high day. I'm starting to get dehydrated, but I do not want to leave. So I'm just going to keep going. I gained 40 pounds in 1 year as a natural lifter at 13. Okay. Cool. Yo, Justin, I'm thinking about doing hills day before accelerations, kind of as a potentiation to acceleration, just hills with some broad jumps, since it's mostly concentric, doesn't tax a lot. Yeah, or you can just do it the same day, right? Like, it doesn't tax a lot, you're right, but at the same time, you could just do it the same day. Like, it's a decent potentiation, but you can also just potentiate right before you sprint. Or you could do like what I've done in the old Speed Academy. If for people who were on the Speed Academy back in the day, it was phase 9 through 12. We would do like lifting the day before and then sprint the next day. It's very stimulating. It's a really good potentiation, but you could do something like that as well, which is kind of what you're saying, right? It's kind of similar. For that specific scenario, I would just kind of do the same day. Like, I don't know how much of a difference it would make, but you could try it and play with it. I've done it before. Like, I've tried that. I don't know if I would suggest it for a lot of people. I feel like calf raises straight from the floor, no stretch, are better support for forefoot force. I get what you're saying. It just depends on like where you're producing force from on the actual calf, right? So like, are you leaning towards the pinky side, or are you putting force into the inside edge of your foot? Are you putting like a tennis ball on the heels and like pressing force into the heels? It all depends on how you execute it. I do think the stretch is important though, because you have to understand that like the calf raise, you're trying to improve the tendon stiffness, you're trying to improve like the tissue quality of the gastroc and the soleus, but you're also trying to improve ankle mobility, right? So if you do no stretch and you don't stretch out that backside under load, you're over time going to just develop a compensation of not having that ankle range of motion from the backside, right? Some people lack ankle range of motion from like bony sections of a bunch of physical therapy stuff on the front side. I'm not going to try to explain, but a lot of people just do it because they just don't squat deep. They don't do full range of motion calf raises. So their backside, right, like the Achilles tendon and all the muscles on the backside, cannot stretch and get enough length for the ankle range of motion. So I would just do full range of motion, because that like forefoot force, you're just going to develop that through like bounding, right? You can do resist sprinting or bounding, where you're doing a forefoot dominant bound, or even like a drop jump, or any type of like ankle dominant plyometric that's forefoot dominant, and you'll get the forefoot force that's actually going to transfer anyways. So that's my opinion. Or if you're like trying to improve forefoot force, you can also do the sprint specific ankle iso, where you're pushing into pins, right? That would probably be a little bit more specific to what you're talking about. Do you recommend seated leg curls for injury prevention, or are they even necessary? I think they're pretty necessary. If you're sprinting a lot, I don't think you need to do any aspect of knee flexion in the weight room unless you have an injury. But seated leg curls are significantly better than Nordic hamstring curls, so I would suggest them. Thanks for answering my question. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. I got you. I don't remember what question I answered. I'm sorry if it was kind of dry too. I'm like really getting my throat is dry, bro. It's very dry. Hi, bro. What you age? I'm 24. I know this isn't your field, so if I want to punch harder in MMA/boxing, I want to train like a shot putter, javelin, like same principles. What do you think? Yeah. You have to understand that like boxing, I actually train MMA guys. I wouldn't say I'm like an expert on the skill development side of it, but if you're trying to hit harder, and you said punch harder, right? So you have to understand that to throw this punch, one, you need rotational forces. So look at things like lateral med ball tosses, like that, which is very similar to how you train shot putter. But you also are whipping from the hip, which means like, oh my goodness, which means like if you're throwing a punch, and I do not have good form at all, but I'm just trying to obviously show a demonstration. If you're throwing a punch like this, what is happening? You notice how I just did this? That is that hip extension. That's extending this hip, which means a lot of boxing, a lot of punching is going to come from a very strong and powerful posterior chain. So like hip thrusts, kettlebell swings, RDLs, full range of motion, stuff like that are going to be really important. Broad jumps, really important. Resistance sprinting is going to be really important. Not like top end speed sprinting, because that's not going to have much transfer at all. But a lot of like that acceleration dominant, like what acceleration day would look like on my page would probably be very helpful for boxing, since you're producing that force from the whip of the hip, which is going to be that posterior chain. Do you recommend extensive plyometrics or iso work outside of warm-up sessions? Yeah. So you're saying like, do I recommend doing extensive plyometrics and isometrics outside of warm-ups? Yeah, we do iso holds and extensive plyometrics at the end of workouts sometimes. If I follow your program, can I still train upper body for strength and muscle? Yeah. I have people follow my program, do a completely separate program. Like they'll hop on the Speed Academy and do the lower body sessions and the mobility days, and then they'll do like Jeff Nippard's like bodybuilding program. Like it's perfectly fine. Obviously, upper body, you can optimize it for speed, but it's not going to make a significant difference. If you get too big, you'll know, right? That's why I always tell people. People are like, oh, don't put on too much muscle for sprinting. It's like, you're just going to know. Like, it's obvious. And most of the time, it's not that you put on too much muscle. You just gain fat. So, like, you're fine, right? You can put on size and just do whatever you want. How to stop overstepping. I want to hit the figure 4. I do plyos twice a week and excel broad jumps, max velocity, fast ground contact time, plogos into in season. Should my max velocity plyos change? If you're overstriding, it's not really like a plyometric thing. Like you could be breaking down is what you're trying to say. So if you're breaking down at like the hip and the knee joint, then that's what happens during max velocity is break down the hip and the knee joint, not necessarily the ankle joint. Then that means you need more bounding, right? So you need like single leg hopping, bounding, deft jumps, stuff that's going to work on eccentric greater force development. And it could also be like a posture and pelvic thing. But if you are just overstriding, so like you're just like pointing outwards, you're probably lacking like the cross extensor reflex. You're not like you're like driving the leg and extending it with your quads versus your hip flexors, right? So you want to be driving your leg up with the hip flexion. You want to be attacking the foot down with hip extension. But a lot of people use the quads because they're just very quad dominant, and like there's so many things wrong. It could be something with your feet, it could be something with just your glutes being underactive because you're not strong, a whole lot of different things, right? So if you're not using your hips for your hip flexion and your hips for your hip extension, then you're going to be really quad dominant. It's also going to cause a lot of overstriding. So you got to look at all those things. It could be like a plethora of problems. My power clean increased by 10 kgs without hitting the gym for a few months just because I got fast in the first 30 yards. I think cleans are more of expression than a tool to get more explosive. Yeah. I mean, it just is, right? Like you can use it as a tool to get more explosive. It's perfectly fine, especially for jumping and like shot putters, stuff like that. You can get stronger at power clean and it will have transfer. But for sprinting, it's just, you can sprint faster and your squat will go up like 20 to 40 pounds or 10 to 20 kgs just from sprinting faster for like 3 to 4 months. And that's a huge improvement in squat with good form too, without practicing it. I only have the app. On the app, I only have SS, not TSA. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. SS essentially is speed strength. For anyone who like recently joined the Speed Academy and you're just seeing SS, you're like, what is this? This is the new version of Speed Academy. The only reason why I haven't called the Speed Academy Speed Strength yet, I haven't changed it for people who like been wanting that new program, is because I don't want to change my branding every few seconds. It takes a lot of work to nail your branding, and my branding and my marketing, my messaging has been really strong with TSA. So I haven't been wanting to change things up too much because I don't want to confuse people and I don't want to even like ruin my business just by changing the names and changing like the messaging. But it's the best program. It's the most updated program. It's what you want to be on. So you're perfectly fine. You're going to get your fastest on there. And I just like the formatting, but I also do want feedback, right? So the reason why I made Speed Strength over the Speed Academy was that 90% of people who ever left the Speed Academy, it wasn't because the program wasn't good. It was because they couldn't do the training. Like it was like, oh, I'm going in season. I don't know what to do. So I had to quit. So I made the program structured where it's early off season, late off season, preseason, and in season. That way people always have something that they're able to do to get the most gains year round versus the Speed Academy was phase 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 12. So it's a 12-month program, but it was all an off-season program, which didn't fit 90% of athletes' schedule. So that's all it is, right? It's like almost the same program, but just a different structure to fit your season better. But I do want like feedback. I want to see if people even like that or if they don't. What do you do? What do you recommend for recovery after a session or on a rest day? Yeah, look at in damn, my PC just dropped. This video right here, the best training split for speed. No one talks about it. I talk about what to do on low days.
We do train them. Right? We hit them as hard as possible. Just one.
Hey, it's me. Oh my God, my nose got cut up that day. That looked crazy. But yeah, I talk about here. Somewhere in this section, I talk about what to do on low intensity days. It's a full session, just like a high intensity day. It's just different. It's a lot though, so that's the only reason why I didn't give an answer. It'll be better structured in that video than what I would say now. 11.2 to 10 to sub 10, like what lifts or things to increase each integrated force development in like complex lifts, best value to get fast. You don't have to do complex lifts, just basic lifts, better and sprint techniques. I'm not really sure what your question is, but I think what you're trying to say is that what lifts or things to increase each integrated force development and like complex lifts for best value. So for lifting that improves eccentric force development, that's stuff like drop catches and also eccentric overload squats and hinges, right? So eccentric overload squat would be you're lifting a weight down that you cannot lift upwards, right? So you either lift it down and then let it fall into plans. You could have like weights, what are they called? Freaking weight clips or like weights, little handles that you like put extra pounds on, and then when you hit the bottom of a squat, it drops off, like it comes off the clips, right? The clips come off the barbell. RDLs and like hinge based movements, you can usually do 2 down, 1 up, or 1 down, 2 up. So you do like here, you do this, like that. You can do that with like seated hamstring curls, all those type of things. So that would be eccentric overload stuff. Then drop catches would be stuff where you're like here, you're squatting, and then you throw yourself down and catch yourself and reverse out the bottom. You can do that in split stances, bilateral stances, unilateral sometimes too, right? So that would be eccentric force development stuff. You're talking about complex lifts, I have no idea what you're saying. So if you're talking about like compounds, then I would need you to re-ask the question because I'm not really sure what you were trying to say. Should you eat in a calorie deficit or surplus for speed? I usually would just say maintenance, right? Unless you're severely overweight, then you need to lose weight. You eat in a calorie deficit of 100 to 500 calories, no more than 500. If you need a surplus for like football, right? You need to like gain weight for like a sport, then yeah, like a 100 to 300 calorie surplus. You really don't need a big surplus daily to put on size or muscle. And you really don't need a surplus at all if you're trying to put on muscle. If you're not like 10% body fat, like if you have body fat in your body, then you can just stay at maintenance. But that's a whole other bag of worms I don't want to get into, right? So that's my answer. Should hit the weights for lower body before or after your workout programs week 1? I would do after. If you could lift after the program, that's fine. If you're going to lift before sprinting, I would do it 6 hours before. I have a really bad caffeine addiction, like 3 cans of Monster on a day and some coffee every day. How can I overcome it? If y'all got some advice, it's like cigarettes at this point. I'm not a professional who talk about addictions, but the good thing about caffeine is that it's not going to kill you, right? You can have a lot of caffeine and get really addicted to it, and you're going to be fine. One thing about and I'm not a professional addiction. I really shouldn't be talking about this topic. But one thing about addictions or just bad habits, right, is that one, you don't always want to call it addiction, right? So people who have real addictions, it is debilitating to the point where they cannot function as a human, right? So sometimes things are just bad habits, which gives you, right, you have the ability to overcome a bad habit. Sometimes you might not have the ability to overcome an addiction without external help, without getting like a professional, right? So if it's just a bad habit, so you've been doing this for like less than a year, right? Then it's probably just a bad habit. You would have to be doing this whole 3 cans of Monsters and coffee every day for like 2 to 5 years straight for you. I would start saying you're like addicted, right? Just start off with like, I'm not trying to stop. I'm just trying to manage my bad habits, which means like I'm doing 3 cans a day of Monster, and I'm doing some coffee every single day. Just do 1 can, right? When are you like most triggered where you need to get that can in, knock it out, and then what can you replace the other cans with? Not how can I just stop drinking cans? What do you replace the cans with? That's going to be Coke Zeros, right? You can have 20 Coke Zeros per day. You're going to be perfectly fine. Or you could do a lot of water, right? Or you could have specific goals for your days of like a nutritional intake that you're trying to get. So it's not like I want to stop getting this much caffeine in. It's like, no, I want to make sure that I don't care what I do about caffeine. I'm not trying to fix that. I just want to make sure I get in this much water. And for me to get in 100 ounces of water, I can't have 3 cans of caffeine because I will literally piss myself all fucking day. Those are the type of like mental tricks that you want to start doing with yourself to overcome the habit. And if it truly is an addiction, it's like 2 to 5 years straight of this same thing, then yes, go see a professional and start working on it. But think about replacing, not stopping, right? Most addiction research shows that you're not trying to stop a habit. You're trying to replace the habit and slowly improve it. You're not trying to remove the habit. That's why, for example, I'm not going to get into that topic, actually. We're not going to talk about that. Okay, hopefully that helps. If I do max velocity first while fresh, then soccer, and sprint strength afterwards, do I still get a full speed gains despite the later fatigue during the high day, during the high-low split? And sprint strength afterwards. So I'm assuming what you're saying is, if I do max velocity when I'm fresh, good. And then I do soccer because you have to do soccer, fine, because you need to do some skill development, you need to play some games. Hopefully it's high intensity soccer, so you match the high day with the high. And then you need to do strength training afterwards, not sprinting and then strength training. You need to do strength training afterwards, that's perfectly fine. As long as the strength training is minimal effective dose, once again, 1 squat, 1 hinge, 1 calf raise. Even if it's for power development, that's perfectly fine. If you can spread out from 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours after your soccer session or after your max velocity session, that's perfectly good. You're going to be fine. I wouldn't do, from the way you worded it, I wouldn't do max velocity, then soccer, then sprinting, then strength training. I wouldn't do that. I'd just do max velocity, your soccer session, and then do your lifting afterwards. You'll be perfectly fine. That's a good question, though. Oh, I'm finally catching up, guys. Oh, I'm not catching up at all. Weight releasers. Oh, my God. Yes, someone knew it. Weight releasers. Sorry. I've been talking so much. I'm dehydrated. I can barely speak. I'm forgetting everything I'm thinking of. I know full depth squats only help acceleration, but not top end. Do front squats at full depth help top end? Do we still need to go at short range of motion? No, I don't like. So even short range of motion squatting is not going to help your top end sprint speed, right? Like it's amazing. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, but the joint actions and the range of motion and specific is joint angle specific. I've even said that in the past. It's not going to make a significant difference to your top end sprinting, right? And it might help with force production potential, but it's not going to be the main mover, right? It's not going to be the main mover. Full range of motion, anything, it's just going to help with acceleration. Front or back squat, you're still hitting the same joint action with your quads, right? So you're still hitting the same like amount of knee flexion, you're hitting hamstring to calf. So it's still going to be acceleration dominant, even if the bar is in front of you or the back of you. It's only like a few inch difference, right? It's not like this versus this is almost the exact same thing. I am a wide receiver and I have skill practice, which is routes 90% of max velocity and full effort conditioning 3 days per week. I want to drop my 40 time. What should my week look like? Just make sure you're getting in some sled resisted acceleration training and some like resisted broad jumps and stuff like that before your skill practice 2 times per week. So like a good example would be like 4 times 20 or 6 times 20 acceleration sprints with resistance or non-resistance all timed. And then like 4 to 12 broad jumps afterwards, like total reps. Is One Piece your favorite anime? Yeah, it's my favorite piece of fiction. And I've consumed a lot of fiction, right? A lot of fiction. And One Piece is my favorite piece of fiction by a long shot. Ask the Holy Spirit for your addiction, a fruit of the Spirit, self-control. Write down a piece of paper and bad things the monster does to you. Okay, I do respect. I do obviously respect the religions and all that. The only thing is cold turkey is not healthy, right? It is not the way. It's worked for some people, but usually when you look at the research of cold turkey and what it works for people for the first 3 months, and they always end up going back to it after like 6 or 12 months afterwards. I would not suggest cold turkey. I respect everything you're saying beforehand. It's cool, right? It doesn't bother me at all, but I would not go cold turkey. That was the whole point of what I was explaining earlier. I would not do cold turkey at all. I think that's very outdated advice, and it gets pushed really hard because a lot of people have personal anecdotes of it working. It's not going to work for everyone. It might work for you for 6 months, and it might work for you forever. It's not for everyone, all right? It's not at all. Acceleration, heavy, lower day with focus on high weight and plyos that go with producing force from a still position, higher ground contact times, top end, lower weight plus lower GCT. Am I chill? I think it's a little bit more complex than that. I don't know if it's that simple. I would need like a little bit more context. Like, I don't know. I'm just going to answer like IDK. Thanks, bro. Should I get also 8 hours of sleep as well? Of course, 8 hours of sleep is also like, seems important for addiction or bad habits. Once again, it might not be addiction, it might be a bad habit. Sleep is really important because it's actually increasing your resistance, right? So like, for example, if you have a day where you have 4 hours of sleep and you have an addiction, like an actual addiction, your ability to resist the triggers to your addiction are going to be much higher. So, or are much lower, right? You're not going to be able to resist it as well. So yes, you want to be sleeping more. Are you ever going to release a vert specific program? Yeah, it's called Just Jump. That was my first program I ever released, was Just Jump. It was actually my most popular program besides the Speed Academy, because now like we've easily had over 1,000 people join the Speed Academy, but Just Jump was definitely like my most popular program for a long time. I feel like I low-key changed the game with that shit too. What should a beginner, intermediate, and advanced times for the 100-meter track be like? Deload once every 3 to 4 weeks, or mini deloads for advance? What should a beginner, intermediate, advanced times? That's a long question. I'm sorry. I might not answer that. Hey man, loves your videos. You give away too much free advice. It's awesome. No, I got you. Get some water, coach. But wait, your throat dry. Pause. Man, y'all are crazy. 1 second, bro. Let me grab some water. All right. We're doing Coke Zero. All right. Yeah, the more sleep, the better. Stress can probably cause the addiction. That is true. Yeah, like stress and stress comes in many ways, right? Stress can come from training. What 40-meter no reaction time and 60-meter do I need to aim for the 100-meter? I already answered this. It's just because it's like really specific numbers, and I don't want to just spout stuff out that I don't remember. I answered it like in really good detail in here, this one. What it takes to really run sub 11.
11 like in your 0 to 30-meter time.
Like all screenshotable stuff. I just don't remember. Like, I'm not even trying to be like
that. Into the straight nitty gritty.
To run sub like the 40-meter non-reaction time, I give you a 30-meter, which is almost the same thing. And I for sure give the fly times, right? Like 10-meter fly times with whatever build up, right? So I would just look at this video because I did it for the 30-meter, the fly 10, and then flying 30. And you could do that off your goal 100-meter time and off what your current 100-meter time is. How can I properly drive? Push down, back, right? That's all it is. Acceleration is projection, so throwing your torso forward, which is also leg action, so attacking the foot down and back, that's projection. Then it's switching, right? So your ability to push is your ability to do this, like this at the same time, right? So your ability to literally do this like that, right? So your ability to drive the leg up with hip flexion while extending the hip with hip extension at the same time, simultaneously. And then reactivity. So that's kind of like more of a physical trait. So how reactive and stiff can you be on the ground? So that's all acceleration is, right? Leg action and that projection aspect I was talking about earlier is driving down and backwards, right? That's all you need to do. People are so funny. Will this contrast day fry me? Trap bar jumps to def jumps to back squat to box jumps and broad jumps to hanklings, then Bulgarian split squats to split squat jumps. Yes, it's this. It's completely useless. All right. I don't want to say useless because, I mean, it's cool to train, right? It's nice to train than to not train. Wait, whoa. What are you talking about? He has a Just Jump program for free. Why are you promoting my program for free? My paid program for free. All right, I hate to be this guy, but if you are like selling my program for free to other people, I'm gonna have to take you down. What are we talking about right now? All right. Thank you for giving me the at though. He has Just Jump program for free. And Thean, okay, I'm sorry, Thean, bro. You're bugging. And Delama, is Delama in this chat? Oh, you're saying I've put up the program for free. I have not put up Just Jump for free. I do not know what you're talking about. I must have read that wrong, obviously. I did not put up Just Jump for free. I have a Just Jump workout for free, though, or maybe like a 1 week program, but I do not have the full program for free. I don't know why that threw me off so hard, but I do not have the full program for free. Okay, so back to your contrast today. I'm sorry. Trap bar jumps into def jumps. It's kind of pointless only because like trap bar jumps is going to overload the concentric and then def jumps is going to overload the eccentric, but they're both like loaded jumps at the end of the day because when you drop off a def jump, the momentum and the eccentric forces are really similar to you just holding weight and then releasing it at the bottom, right? So, or dropping down with bands, and the bands are like throwing your body at a higher velocity. So you don't need to do both. They're both going to train knee extension and power in the anterior chain. And then back squats into box jumps, like, why? There's no reason for it, right? Like, even as a contrast, there's nothing to it because you literally just did trap bar jumps and def jumps that are both just knee extension. And then you're doing heavy knee extension, right? You're developing the quads, the glutes, the posterior chain, the whole thing through with a back squat at even a slower velocity, even trying to improve force, but then you're just doing another box jump, just another vertical jump. You're just throwing on volume of the same movement patterns repeatedly. And then you're doing a broad jumps to hang clings, like why? Right? So yeah, like a hang cling, you're hinging and then you're exploding upwards. So it's like posterior chain, but then you're doing a broad jump. Like why? It's a vertical lift into a horizontal jump. Why? Like you just did like 3 other jumps. I would just do a back squat into a def jump, and then that would be the workout. And then you're doing like Bulgarian split squats into split squat jumps. Like you're just adding fatigue. If this is one full workout, you just did like 8 exercises of the exact same movement pattern, right? You're just throwing on fatigue for the sake of throwing on fatigue. None of the exercises are special. They're all the same thing. Relatively, right? Obviously they have little bit differences, but like you're just throwing them together. It's not the workout. It's not the workout. Do you have hip exercises in your hip program? Yeah. Like I have been a strength conditioning coach for 7 years now. There is not one single aspect that you are thinking of that I did not cover in the Speed Academy. We are doing general strength training. We're doing mobility training. We're doing ankle mobility, hip flexion, hip extension mobility, hip flexion strength, hip flexion range of motion, hip internal rotation, hip external rotation, ankle inversion, ankle eversion, all those aspects that people think of, covered. Big toe extension, covered. Then on the strength side, we're doing full range of motion strength training. We're doing power development. We're doing sprint specific isometric training. We're doing eccentric training. Now on the plyometric side, we're doing all the def jumps, all the broad jumps, all the progressions you could possibly think of that are optimal by science. All of the plyometrics like bounding and speed bounding and single leg hopping, everything. Like there's not a single thing we aren't covering. Everything is always covered. No stone is left unturned in my programs. My acceleration has improved significantly, but top end speed still sucks. I've been stuck at 1.03 10-meter fly for like 6 months now, even though I do flies every week. Well, 1.03 10-meter fly is not bad, first of all. So you're in that intermediate range, which means it's going to be really hard to see improvement like every single week. You're not going to get improvement every single week. But that's not bad. But I do understand what you're saying. It could be like how much you're bringing into your buildup, right? So if you're really stuck, you might be building up too short. So you might be doing like a 20-meter buildup when you need like a 30 meters to 40-meter buildup to hit your true max speeds. And then body weight matters a lot, and then eccentric rate of force development. So make sure you're getting in your bounds. Make sure you're not too heavy, right? You're around that 10 to 12% body weight. And then it could be form, it could be posture. Your posture might be breaking down when you get upright. Oh my God, is Usain Bolt natty or not? Personally, I do not think he's natty. I think it's absolutely fucking ridiculous to look at every single person he raced against when he broke the world record was physically caught with drugs. Every single person who was top 5 fastest athletes of all time, physically got caught with drugs, and then we're just going to say the fastest man of all time, he was just clean. That is just a lack of common sense. Just because they said, oh, we didn't catch him, we tested him, we didn't catch him. These people cheat the test 24/7. Why would the Olympics or whatever the companies are that do these testing want the best athlete of all time to be caught with drugs? Why? Why would they want that to be true? It's just common sense. Every single person he raced against was caught with drugs, but for some reason he's not on drugs. What are we doing? After he not just beat them, he beat them by a landslide every time. He diffed them. He is the Gojo of the real world. He's the Gojo of the real world. No one can beat him. All right, I'm going to move on. What do you think about two-knee block position? For example, Kalen Walker or Darwin? Where can I find that program? I do not have a free just jump program. Still don't know what you guys are talking about. How do I fix overstriding and not landing on ball of foot? Like I see myself landing more in the middle, sometimes even the heels lift. So you want to land midfoot, right? You're not really going to land ball of foot during max velocity. If acceleration, you want to land ball of foot. If you're landing on like your heel or your like ankles collapsing a lot when the foot hits the ground, that means you're lacking ankle stiffness, right? So that's going to be like raw general strength in the gastroc and soleus, and then it's going to be like a lot of plyometric work to improve like the co-contractions and like the pre-tensioning needed at the ankle level, right? Now if it's max velocity and you're overstriding, it could just also be like a strategy thing. Like you might be trying to get more stride length where you just need to attack down. You need to improve your ability to switch at the thighs. So yeah, which 100 meter time, I don't know. I don't run the 100 meter. I just came back from a series of bad successive quad injuries, and now I'm struggling with severe imbalances in how I sprint, maintaining horizontal angles during any advice. Do a lot of single leg plyometrics and a lot of single leg lifting, right? Rear foot elevated split squats, single leg hopping, all of it. I've heard Chris Korfist say, and even Ralph Allman, that nothing in the gym can help with top speed. Overspeed is the way to go, along with flyers and longer sprints. Even plyos don't help that much, as people say. They're not wrong, but I there's some aspects that I don't agree with, right? So there's almost nothing in the weight room you can do to improve top end speed. In my opinion, there's aspects you can do in the weight room that can further improve top end speed indirectly. So a good example, like the two main examples I would use would be isometric strength training and eccentric overload training. And the only reason why I say they have indirect correlation is because you can improve qualities that are highly specific to max velocity sprinting, like eccentric rate of force development in the hips and the knee joint. So if you did an eccentric overload squat, you're developing eccentric strength and raising that potential that you can transfer over with plyometrics that will eventually transfer over with sprinting. That doesn't mean that the bounding that overloads the eccentric component of sprinting is going to automatically transfer over to max velocity sprinting. But if you do a lot of it, you're going to improve that eccentric rate of force development at a general level. And then when you sprint, there you go, right? But guess what? If you're doing a bunch of bounding and you just keep improving eccentric rate of force development, but you don't have a higher ceiling, then where do you go? Well, you have to get stronger, right? You either get stronger or you do eccentric overload squats to improve that capacity so you can fill up the cup in a way during your eccentric rate of force development training like depth jumps and bounding. So yes, of course, they do not have direct correlation to top end speed, but I wouldn't say it's useless, right? Like the way that they word it, like nothing in the gym can help. It's like, no, nothing's going to directly translate over to speed in general. There's nothing that is going to directly translate over to speed in acceleration either, but they're going to have other aspects. And then of course, isometric strength training, because we know that power output's actually fairly low in max velocity. It's not a power output thing. It's more of like an elastic and reactive based thing. Then improving our isometric strength, or some might call it like time to peak velocity. Some might call it DSI, stuff like that, dynamic strength index, or DSI. Or DIS? No, DSI, dynamic strength index, something with isometrics. I always forget. PGF talks about it all the time. But you can improve those aspects that can have correlation to sprinting if you keep getting better, right? Like the sprint-specific ankle ISO, the sprint-specific knee ISO, and sprint-specific hip ISO. They're not going to directly improve your sprint speed, but if you improve your sprint-specific hip ISO, then guess what? You're going to have a stronger posterior chain that can transfer over to faster top-end speed sprint times over time. Now, overspeed, I don't play with overspeed. If you have a 1080, you could do overspeed, but I would not play with overspeed if you do not have the right equipment. And I would not say that overspeed is the only way to improve your sprint times. Longer sprints and fly 10 sprints are the core of max velocity sprinting development, of course, like I said. In all of my videos, I'm on Thriller Bark and it's so boring. How do I make myself watch it? Thriller Bark is a bad arc, though. Like, not every arc is like that. Thriller arc is pretty bad. I would, like, it's, like, important, but only, like, the end, right? So you low-key could skip it and just watch the final fight, because that is really important. Like, it's genuinely really, really important. It's a lot of foreshadowing, too. You really have to pay attention. But, yeah, this is up to you. What's your thoughts on Ralph Allman in general? Do you like his philosophy? Yeah, his philosophy is good, but you have to understand that Ralph Allman, all respect, I'm actually going to try to get him on the podcast because I think he's amazing athlete, or amazing coach. But you have to understand that his population is elite athletes, the 1% of the 1% of genetics, the 1% of the 1% of performance. So when you only take him and Randy Huntington's training advice and just say that's gospel for like the average athlete, it's just not going to be true, right? Like, there's going to be some aspects of course, that's the reason why they're training elite athletes, and there's a reason why it works, but it's not going to have direct correlation to the general population, which is going to be 99% of athletes who are not top 1% genetics and top 1% of performance. So they have amazing advice. I use a lot of their advice in the Speed Academy and in my videos, but I would not say that everything they say is gospel when it comes to like the average athlete. By the way, Randy Huntington follows me on Instagram. Why? I am like nothing to him, bro. That's crazy. That's like hella respect, bro. I mean, he's the GOAT at the end of the day. Opinion on sprinting with a weighted vest? Not a positive one. I don't think it's helpful at all. Like, unless you're doing it for weight loss, I guess, but I would not do that at all. Is it fine if I get protein in my cheese sticks? Sure. Thriller Bark gets peak, bro, especially at the end. Yeah. Is Isaiah Rivera the greatest lifter ever? I saw Donovan Hawkins say he is, if you compare body weight to weight ratio and other stuff, he's probably up there. I know that sounds crazy, but he probably is one of the best lifters of all time. It's not even a question. Like, when you do factor in body weight to weight ratio, yeah, relative strength, for sure. What are the best drills to hit figure 4? Wicket sprints, mini wicket sprints, so like the short wicket sprints. Some people call it like hurdle sprints, stuff like that. And then I think the A-switch drill. And then like bounding, straight leg bounding, all that's very helpful. Protein is protein and weighs one of the highest qualities. Ban that clown. I couldn't find the program. I'll just buy the Speed Academy. Yeah, I mean, they all work. We all do jumping and sprinting and all of it. Wait, is reselling programs a new method? Do not resell my program. Does it come with Just Jump? No, it does not come with Just Jump. But you could just DM me on Instagram. I'll send you Just Jump and you could just buy it. I'll just send you the link to it because I don't sell it as much anymore. You have to like go on my Instagram. You have to go on justshamari.com, like my actual website, and like find one of those like random links, and then it takes you to Just Jump. But if you could do that. Just look up justshamari.com and you'll find it. I think I answered this question already. How do I train the core and lower back for 100 meter and 400 meter sprinter? You do not want to train your core and lower back directly. I don't think training your core is like necessarily bad, but there's still gonna be like almost no direct correlation for speed. And then like your lower back, you get that in like all your hinging movements. You're gonna train your erectors anyways, right? So your erectors are gonna be trained, and you do not want your lower back to be the primary mover during sprinting. And it's not gonna help you like maintain posture or any of these type of like weird things people say. It's gonna have very little help. If anything, people use their lower back too much during acceleration sprinting and during most squats and hinges. So I wouldn't like directly try to train your lower back for like speed development. Go 20 minutes back now. How do I increase my power to weight ratio so I can sprint faster? You could look at it as a simple way, right? You get stronger while not gaining weight. So that's progressive overload and training close to failure and 6 rep ranges or below. And then you improve your power, so that's improving velocity, so strength and velocity, force and velocity. So velocity is like sprinting, plyometrics, and then you don't gain weight, right? That's like the simple way, like the scientific way to look at it, right? Is jumping Bulgarian squats good for acceleration? They're okay. I like step-up jumps a little bit more, and I like split squat jumps a little bit more where you have a lot more stability because you get higher force output and still hit the same angles you would see in a Bulgarian split squat jump. What do you think about extreme isos? They're very helpful. I don't think like they're this magical tool, right? When you look into the science of it, it's like it's very important, but it's not really what you think it is. But like it's pretty cool for like mind muscle connection, for movement quality. It's kind of like I feel like people treat extreme isos like what's a good joke I can transfer this over to nutrition. I feel like people treat extreme isometrics like a like a cleansing drink. You know what I'm trying to say? Like in nutrition, people who don't know what they're talking about, no backing to this at all, but they'll be like, "Oh, I need to drink like my green juice or my green drink to like cleanse my gut." That's why I feel like people treat the extreme isometric form, and when you like look into what it actually does, it's very important. It is very helpful, but it's not like this all or nothing cleanse that like fixes your body overnight, right? What is your reactive strength index? Currently, it's like 3.5 to 3.6. My highest ever was like 4.2, 4.3, something like that. I had it on video. I posted it like 6 months ago or something. But I gained a lot of weight recently, so my reactive strength index is a little bit down, but I'm losing weight right now. So it's going to go back up pretty naturally. I find it hard to believe that we can't make a tool like 1080 that's affordable, maybe not as advanced, but the tools used for resistance over speed. Yeah, it's pretty overpriced. Obviously, like you guys know that I've gotten a chance to like work with Les Spellman, of course. So he has like the 1080 because he actually works with like the people who created it. And like when I saw it in person and I seen like everyone use it and how they use it, it's like, is that really worth $10,000? Like, I don't know. It's helpful. It's very cool. It's very even for like NFL athletes. You get all this data and all that, but it's like, do you really need to spend $10,000 to $20,000 for it? It's kind of silly, right? It's kind of like a force plate. Like force plates are amazing, but it's like, do you really gotta spend $30,000 for a force plate? Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's the only other person making a product similar is Stu McMillan right now, and I think his was still close to like $1,000, $2,000, which is way better than 10, right? Way better. But I still think like, should we really be spending over $500 for like a high level resistance sprint thingy? I don't know. Like I don't know what it costs to make it. I don't know the manufacturing costs. So like I genuinely can't just make that claim. But I don't know about over 1,000 though. I don't know if we need to be charging over 1,000 for like a high level resistance sprint tool. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just like very very ignorant. How to train hip flexors in the gym? You got two good ways. It's either cable hip flexor drives or cable hip flexor setups. I talk about it in this video right here. You have to train the hip flexors at length, right? So, oh, excuse me. Sorry. That was disgusting and so unprofessional. I talk about in this video. 1 second. We're going to find it. Hamstrings. Where's hips? Here we go. The only 3 hip exercises you need. This one I just moved here. It's kind of funny. This video. This is what you need right here. Watch that video and you'll see the 2 that I'm talking about. All right, I'm gonna try to like finish this. I'm gonna try to finish this because I'm starting to get very fatigued. How do I train speed, endurance / condition myself for the 100-meter? I have strong acceleration, but I get caught at the 50-meter. I don't have track access or even a flat field of grass. You can just sprint on concrete. I've been doing some longer sprints on concrete, but it's hard on my ankles, so I've been taking it easy. You can do sprints on concrete. It's all about just dose. Like your body doesn't really care as long as you don't do too much in general. When it comes to like what you're noting is you probably are lacking like more like max velocity, right? Which acceleration training, we know the basics that I talk about all the time. You want to be sprinting anywhere from 5 to 30 yards, doing anywhere from 6 to 8 total sprints in a session. Some resistance sprinting thrown in there, maybe 2 to 3 reps each session, 1 to 3 times per week, 1 to 2 minutes rest between each sprint, each 10 yards sprinted, right? So if you do 30 yards, that means you sprint 3 to 6 minutes, or you rest 3 to 6 minutes after sprinting a 30 yards of distance. For max velocity, you want to do fly 10s. That's going to be 20 to 40 yard buildup into a 10 to 30 yard fly. In your case, it'd be meters. It's only like a few yard difference. So you can just transfer it over to meters. And then you want to do anywhere from like 2 to 6 reps of those upright sprints. And if you want to train a little bit mix of max velocity and speed endurance, you could do like 40 to 60 meter sprints. But what I will say is if you're sprinting the 100 meter and you're not like sub 11.2, I probably would not say that you're struggling with speed endurance or conditioning. You could do some conditioning just like generally, maybe throw in like 1 to 2 reps of like a 60 meter or 100 meter sprint at the end of a max velocity session, but it's not your limiting factor. I promise you it's just speed. It's just acceleration and max velocity until you get around that like 11.2 range, then maybe you have a speed endurance problem. It could also be body fat. It could be carbs. It could be just like general fitness, right? Like you might just need some zone 2 runs like 2 times per week for like 1 to 2 months, right? That's what I would say for that. Do you think you need to be more specific volume? Do you think you need more specific volume and less general with beginners and opposite with elite guys? Beginners is way more general training, and elite guys is like they can't handle like a lick of general training sometimes. Sometimes with elite guys, you need to do a lot of general training just to raise that final potential cap that they're at. But for obviously with beginners, it's going to be general, and elite guys is going to be like uber specific, ultra specific, because they respond to nothing. Beginners, you could just throw a 2-mile run 3 times per week with some sprint drills and they're going to sprint faster, even if the training's fucking dog shit like that, right? But with elite guys, you got to be so specific. Even intermediate athletes, myself, right? I was an intermediate athlete for a long time, bro. Like I could go 3 years and not improve at anything because I wasn't being specific enough. Like you got to be more specific with the way you train and your volumes and your intensities and the exercise selection as you get better. Beginners can just do anything, like literally a lot of volume, low volume, general training, like whatever the fuck it is. Deep squat 10 by 10 with fucking 10 broad jumps and call it a day, and you're going to get better. Yeah, also if you take consideration that Isaiah is 6'2" with long arms, his lifts are more impressive. Yeah, Isaiah Rivera is extremely impressive, and he's very nice. I've talked to him a few times on the phone. He's very nice. What do you think about the 5-3-1 program to get stronger? Modified, though? It's not bad. It really isn't. I wouldn't say it's the best if you're an athlete, but it's not bad for like a powerlifter. Can you put on weight while getting faster? Yeah, for sure. You can for sure put on weight. You saw Jaylen Brown ran a 3.76 30-meter laser time from 2-point with start. I call it bullshit, something off there. I saw that video, though. He kind of was like, I think I saw that video. Jaylen Brown, Noah Lyles. I saw them sprinting, and I saw he was pretty close to him. But Noah Lyles be trolling sometimes, bro. He low-key be trolling. Shout out to Total Running Productions. If you copyright strike me for this, I'm gonna be so shitty. I'm gonna be complaining so hard. I'm not gonna lie. But no comment. Let's see. Look at this.
This is
okay. I mean, like, so Noah Lyles was definitely trolling here. You could just tell from his set position, because if we're just gonna like freaking analyze this, let me make sure that I'm in my yeah, okay. Let's analyze it, bro. So Noah Lyles is trolling here, like 100%. All right. And I don't know why he keeps doing this, because track and field's already disrespected as it is. So when you keep like Noah Lyles, he was like trolling against speed and against him. All people are gonna do is just like make fun of track because of this, right? So they're just gonna be like, oh well, like, why are like NBA players and why are like this random guy speed like able to compete with the fastest man in the world? Like it should be a blowout. Like all they're gonna do is make fun of track. Like just try. You can tell right here, he hinged back at the hips, but his legs are completely extended, so he's not even in a quarter squat position. Well, obviously, which means he's just not trying. Like he's not getting in a set position to explode and project out perfectly the first step. While you can see Jaylen Brown, it's not like good technique at all, but like he's bending at the knees, so he's getting like a little bit of a half squat position. Then he's letting the shin go horizontal so he can actually push backwards and attack. While he's just like vertical, and he's just like literally bent over at the hip, just for like he's just not trying, which is fine. He is literally just faster than Jaylen Brown. And I know he doesn't care, but it's like, dude, you could definitely just lock in, right? And then you can see in the first step here, like he just steps over, right? Like he just isn't trying at all. Which is perfectly fine. Like you don't have to try. You're the fastest guy in the world, but like he just doesn't project. He doesn't step. He doesn't toe drag. Nothing. Like no low heat recovery. He just kind of like jogs out. and then he starts sprinting Jaylen Brown got a couple steps. And yeah, like No Lyles won.
This is No
really
Lyles.
Matters, but it's just like, I don't know. And when it comes to Jaylen Brown, like, yeah, his technique's fine. Like, for his height, he is long jumper, so it's gonna look a little wonky. He's pretty lean, so I bet he's a halfway decent athlete. But No Lyles should have completely burned him. In terms of a 3.76 30 meter, like, I don't know. I mean, he is an NBA athlete at the end of the day, right? So I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I mean, I probably could do the math if I just screen recorded it, but I would have to see the full video and be able to tell.
Which I'm guessing is just a time that does not include his reaction time, because if this distance did include
the ground, he's lacking
the reaction
rotation and hip external rotation, which is really common for tall athletes in general. When you see like their knees like uber cave in when it like leaves the ground like this, and it kind of has like that weird whipping action at the foot, and it gets a lot.
This would actually be one of the fastest a time that does not
include good acceleration. So I don't know. What do I do if I'm completely lost? I've been trying to get faster for 2 years. Just hop on my program. Bro, if everything I'm teaching is way too complicated, just hop on a Speed Academy. It is like, what did I make it? I don't even know what it is. How much does this shit cost? I'm not going to act like it's like it's not expensive, right? At the end, oh my God. That would have been bad. Like it's like $27 a month. You can't afford this. Perfectly fine. Then you just look up like Instagram, right? You search up my name, and then you click like Just Jamari somewhere here in the searching. And then when you search up Just Jamari, you click on my free program, right? That's all you gotta do, and just follow it. Like, don't try to add anything else. Just do what I taught, because I have 7 years of experience in this exact topic, making thousands of people faster. So if you're confused, just follow someone else's program. Free or paid, I don't care. You don't have to pay me. Never pay me a day in your life. I don't care. Quickest and best way to lose body fat as fast as possible. I am a wide receiver that I've been trying to gain more weight due to moving up to tier 1. Just compare your height to like NFL wide receivers. They're not that heavy. They're not that heavy. You don't need to gain weight to like. You need to gain strength. Strength that has nothing to do with weight. You just get stronger, and it's completely separate. It's completely separate from weight. So you probably need to improve your strength, but the wide receivers in the NFL are not that heavy. They're not that big. They're tall sometimes, and short guys might be a little thicker just because they're short. They have to be able to handle some forces, taking some hits. In terms of body fat, 300 to 500 calorie deficit, don't make it fast. If you make it fast, you're going to get screwed over and lose a lot of athleticism really quickly and just go backwards. School's over, but grades are not out yet. Should I still be submitting missing assignments? Ninja said 10 by 10 squats. I'm dead. No Lyles natty or not. He's probably natty for sure. I think most sprinters right now at the Olympic level are natty. I think back in the day, like Usain Bolt level, like literally everyone he raced against was not natural, and then he came up natty. But whatever, bro. And what days work on speed if you got football Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Be doing a lot of fatiguing stuff. Work on your speed on Monday and then Saturday. Acceleration day Monday, max velocity on Saturday, and you'll be good. That's enough time in between those two sessions, like Monday and Saturday session, and then boom, you're good to go. And it keeps you being able to do your football stuff on that day. Wait, my bad. That's what I bet. Oh, okay. Cool. You're good. Do you have any ideas on why ankle stiffness might? Wow, I can't talk. Do you have any idea why ankle stiffness might not feel like it's translating to sprints, even when it's improved notably on all other measurements? Like, you could improve ankle stiffness, but that's just a general quality you need for proper sprinting, right? So I wouldn't say that it has direct transfer over to sprinting, but it might be something that could hold people back. So if your ankle is just giving out during acceleration sprinting, then yeah, you need to improve ankle stiffness, and that will have direct correlation to your speed. But it might not be the thing you're messing with, or you just might have a technical deficit. So you might be improving ankle stiffness, but you're still like overstriding, or you're not fully extending at the hip, or you're extending your leg with your quads. So even if you have good ankle stiffness, you're still like projecting your body vertical, and then you're not dropping the shin. Like there's like a whole amount of things that could be going wrong. So it might just be a technical problem. Or you might have not had that as a deficit in the first place. What do people mean when they say beginners need more volume? Do they mean longer distances or more reps? No. Oh, that's actually, oh my God. What a good fucking question. Dude, was that the best question of today? Everybody, holy shit, congratulates him. That was such a good question. Okay, wow. Beginners, they need, I don't know about more volume, right? But what they do need is more general training. So think of general training as basic sprinting, basic sprint drills, basic jumps, jump circuits, basic lifting like squats, hinges, not like getting specific. So you don't need like the specific eccentric base split squat or isometric overcoming anything, right? You just need basic squat, basic RDL, basic calf raise. That's general training, right? Tempo sprints. In some cases, speed endurance sprints. That's general training, not longer distances. So if you're a beginner, you actually want to keep your sprints probably under 20 yards. And I know that sounds crazy, but your posture breaks down so much as you sprint these further distances that really, if you're, did I just mute me? My bad. If you're going well past 40 yards in most of your sprints, you're not going to be training speed with the bad postures that people have. So if you're a beginner, dude, your acceleration days, 5 to 10 yards for multiple months in a row and 6 to 12 reps. You could probably handle a little bit more reps, a little bit more volume because it's shorter distances and you're also slower. So even if you did farther distances, you probably still can handle a little bit more reps. But then max velocity is like 20-yard build into 10-yard fly, 30-yard sprints, bounding, and some drop jumps, right? You don't need necessarily more volume or longer distances. You just need more general training and shorter distances because you don't have the posture and the strength to handle those longer sprints to actually make them effective for your speed. You skipped my question. Goal R size to hit for sub 11. There's not like just goal 3.5. Like there's no like number for specific sprint times. That's way too general. Way too general. It just try to hit 3 to 3.5. If it's really bad, then try to go for 4. Right? Like if you feel like it's holding you back, go for 4. Once you're at 4, like you're probably fine. Like obviously, yes, there's elite guys who are doing 5 and 5.2s and all this crazy numbers that are like fucking ridiculous, but for like most people, just try to go for 3.5 or 3.0. Once you're at 3.0, you can handle higher intensity plyometrics, right? Usually when you're below 3.0, you're probably not gonna be able to handle it without getting some form of injury. And then after that, yeah, that's kind of all I got for you. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it there. I ended up not making the tier list at all because you actually dropped a lot of questions. Amazing. I don't even know how long I've been on stream for. I'm gonna try to test that real quick. I'm probably gonna call it because I am struggling today. What are you doing, Maru? Let's see. How long was I on stream for?
I'm not making the tier list at all because you actually dropped a lot.
Oh my God, hour 41 minutes? Dude, I got so much work I gotta do today. I'm tripping. Oh shoot, you're dropping a bunch of questions. I'm sorry, bro. Is Adam Planetary natty or not? I don't know.
Hello?
But
Hello?
Adam Planetary.
I do not have a microphone connected.
You've been posting yourself.
I'm really clicking live. I have no idea why I clicked live. I don't have a microphone connected.
Making it like where like you post yourself 10:9 and you show it in different ways.
Oh my goodness.
Just come. I've texted you like.
And I don't have a microphone ready when clicking live.
Oh shoot. Is this
Wow,
microphone
wow.
on? My bad. Hello?
I'll get in my microphone.
What
Hopefully I
is
sound
this?
halfway decent.
Do I sound like I'm Adam Planetary? Dude, just come trade with me, bro. Why do you keep telling me no? Have you seen the people I've produced? Do you want to run 10-3, 10-4, 10-5? Come join. And stop ego lifting too, Adam. I'm not even hating on you because I know you're going to see this somehow. Stop ego lifting. That single leg hip thrust is not the play. I don't care what type of explanation you got. It's not the play, bro. It's not. Adam Planetary, I see you. And good muscle building. But make sure if you're trying to make a sprinting content channel, do not keep talking about muscle building. All right? Talk about sprinting. If you're trying to sell sprinting. Just telling you. Talk about the thing that people care about. But you are jacked. I get the whole thing. You're trying to do like I'm the jacked but fast type of. I get it. But come join. Come over here. I get one-on-one coaching. Not the Speed Academy. One-on-one coaching. Come on. You keep telling me no, but you keep running 10-9. Come on. Best acceleration drills skips before sprints. How many minutes should I spend on that portion? Yeah, like your primer before your acceleration training should be like 3 to 10 minutes. Depends on what you look at as a primer. We're talking about like drills, like 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes 10. And then like skips for distance, skips for height. skips for speed, switch drills are helpful. I'm not saying do all these. I'm just saying like, yeah, resistance sprinting, heavier usually as a primer, med ball tosses, standing vertical jumps, standing broad jumps are all really good like drills or exercises, skips to do before acceleration sprints. Will not eating enough protein make me lose muscle? It's complicated now. Back in the day, it's like, yes, oh my God, yes, like bend at the knee, but yes. Using just Mari's videos, my 100 meter went down from 14.4 last year to 10.9. Xander, text me. Xander, text me on Instagram, bro. I'll be joining the Speed Academy soon. I hope to learn from a professional. I've never had any guidance, but I was still able to make tier 1. Dude, congratulations, bro. You got this. All right, yeah, come join the Speed Academy or get one-on-one coaching if you want. All right, I can offer it to you. Just hit me up on Instagram. Talk to me. I'm always here to help. Paid or not paid, I don't really care. I'm here to help people. For sure. Oh, trust me, I know you went from 14.4 to 10.9, but please text me on Instagram at JustJamari. Please. Should there be any days where 100, 200 meter sprinters run kilometers sometimes? No. If you want like a actual response to that, I broke it down earlier in this live stream about long distance conditioning for sprinters. And I think it was about the 400 meter, but it still applies to 100 meter even more actually. If not, you might be a new clip in your videos. You might have a new clip in your videos. I think bro is trolling. Who's trolling? Am I trolling? I don't know. But I'm definitely... Why is there trackflation? What type of answer do you want? You know? I think there's a few things. That's actually a good question. I think I've been trying to tell people that I think that people are not using drugs at the Olympic level right now. And I think back then they were. So when they were using drugs, they were sprinting faster times. But now that the highest level is not using as much drugs, right? Less and less people are getting caught with it because less and less people are doing it. You're seeing times not be that fast. It's because that's probably what times should have been the whole time without drugs, right? And then, of course, if the elite level aren't using drugs, then there's no reason why a lower level athlete or a younger athlete, so like college and high school, can't run similar times because everyone's on the same playing field, right? As long as you're just doing good training, age has nothing to do with speed, right? You could sprint fast all the way until you're 40. You see Justin Gatlin do that, right? And even other Olympic sprinters who were running 9.8 at like 39 years old, 42, all that shit, right? So I just think it's the lack of drugs. I think training's getting better, and it's because people are moving the industry. I wouldn't say I'm moving the industry because my content is geared towards like athletes. I'm not trying to help coaches. I know how to help coaches. I've trained coaches in person and online and one-to-one before, but like I'm not here trying to move the industry and like how to go about training. But people like Les Bellman, like my mentor, he targets coaches a lot more, and he's definitely moving the industry. And the average coach is just getting better. So because the average high school and middle school coach is getting better, people are just coming up and running faster times. And then less drugs at the highest level means that everyone's on a similar playing field. Usually around that age 16 to 24, you're going to run really fast times, and you can honestly run like really, really fast times at age 16. So there's no reason. Like what's stopping a 16-year-old from running a Olympic level time or a pro level time, not Olympic level, but like a pro level time? There's nothing. You can't explain anything, right? Because we know that that sprinting isn't a strength dominant sport. So if it's based on elasticity, anyone can run fast if you have the genetics for it, even at a younger age, without the strength built up that you get from getting older and just strength training over time, right? So I think there's a lot going into trackflation. I think just training is getting better and less people are on drugs, so the playing field's even. And training on average is getting way better. Like when people are like, oh, we haven't improved in 20 years or 50 years of training, like, yes, we have. There is just factually significantly better ways to train, and more people know about it because of social media. And that's just like not negotiable. It's not a debate. It's a significant difference. Yeah. David, ever heard the perspective? Yeah. I don't know what other people are saying. I've never looked into the topic. I just know, like, I'm kind of more just speaking on like, why are athletes in general getting better, right? NBA athletes, the average NBA athlete is like, I don't think people realize that 90% of NBA athletes today would average 30 in the 90s, 30 points per game in the 90s. That's how good the average NBA athlete is nowadays. It's just a completely different ballgame. I can't speak on football that much. I watch football, but I wouldn't say I really know it like I know the NBA and track. But like, it is just a different ballgame. Athletes are just better, right? Everywhere is because training is getting better. Less drugs are being allowed, so there's not this much of a gap from like people who can't do the drugs and people who are. It's just different. Things are different now, bro. How much distance should a sprinter max to what? How much distance should a sprinter max to max run? For acceleration, 10 to 30 yards. If you're trying to develop max velocity, 30 to 40 yards really, but some faster athletes can go out to 60, no longer than 60 yards or meters for each. And in general, 120 to 150 yards for acceleration session per session, so total yardage sprinted at maximal. And then for max velocity, it can be anywhere from like 50 to like 150 yards per session of maximal sprints, right? Total yards under max speed. I run 59 seconds in the 400 meter. I said I was going to get off, but now I'm just getting more questions. So I'm just going to keep answering until I like my Revan calls me or something. The person, my girlfriend I live with. I run 59 seconds in a 400 meter. If I run sub 50 in a year, I need to get just Speed Academy for free. I go to show St. Joseph in Montalve. Watch, I will show it with proof. So you're trying to say like if I go from 59 to 50 in 1 year, that I need to give you the Speed Academy for free. Wouldn't it make more sense for you just to hop on the Speed Academy, go from 59 to 50, and then I just refund you the money from using our program? What about Texas relays? Those kids have crazy times. That's the point. Like my whole point sorry, that sounded rude, but I think what my whole point is with like these younger athletes running faster times because training is getting better. And now these faster times at the high school level seem ridiculous because the pro level guys, like the Olympic level sprinters, are not running that fast. And the reason why they're not running like sub 9.8 consistently, like everyone's running sub 9.8, is because no one's on drugs anymore. They're just not. There's just way too much restrictions, and it's so hard to cheat the system now that most people are just not on drugs at the high level. So now the fast high school times are getting a little bit better every single year, just a little bit better, and it's kind of getting ridiculous now because training overall is improving significantly. Significant difference of training what we do now compared to back in the 90s and 80s, right? And then the high level is getting lower and lower because drugs are just not as popular, right? They're just not being used as much. So that's kind of like my whole point. Yeah, NFL combines went crazy this year. Okay, so yeah, that's true. NFL athletes are getting better, but those combine times are bullshit. Oh my God, I'm so tired of seeing 40-yard times. At what point at the NFL combine are they just gonna start seeing like 3.9 or some shit? Like, what are we doing? Right? They're doing non-reaction time 40-yard dash times, and it's not even based off hand movement. What the fuck are we doing? This is the NFL, the National Football League, the National Football Association. What the actual fuck is going on? Those 40-yard dash times are bullshit. Just look at the splits. Why is everyone running 4.2 and 4.4? No, you are not. No, you're not. Those guys would be blazing even in track and field, bro. Just look at the splits. Just screen record the goddamn video and you can look at it for yourself, bro. Either way, NBA athletes need to bulk a little bit, but they're too scared of losing athleticism. I wouldn't say NBA athletes need to bulk. Not in this game, only because this game is way faster, right? So like size and strength is just way less important at the NBA level. You see it even with like, what the hell is up by? Oh, it's never mind. Okay. You see it even at the people like Kevin Durant and stuff like that, like the really lengthy, tall guys. They're strong enough to compete, and they're playing in the mid-range and 3-point range anyways. And when they do drive, it's like from everything I've learned from training with like pro basketball players and like learning from like NBA coaches and stuff, the way these athletes are driving, it's just different. Like they use leverages. So like back in the day, maybe like we'll say like the 1980s, like athletes would like physically throw their body into the defender, right? So they would have to force their body through a defender to get the layup up. That's not necessarily good or worse. It's not even like higher risk of injury. It's actually a little bit lower risk of injury. It's just a different ballgame. There's nothing better or worse about it, right? So they used to force their way through people, and because of hand checking too being legal, it was just completely different with the way they drive. But now with hand checking not being legal and athletes being faster, the way they drive, they don't need physical strength at all, right? So if you were to like get past a defender, nowadays, which this is what happens in NBA, is like they're sizing up type of thing, and the way they get past the defender, they're consistently hooking their body around the defender. So whatever type of way they do it, like whether they're like hang dribble and then they drop, they're separating their body from the defender. So even if they're staying closer to hip for the layup, they're not using that much contact. So due to the significantly drastic drop in contact in the NBA level, these people are not needing that much strength. Like strength is just probably not that important. I wouldn't say they need to bulk up because it's athletic sports. So if you're not fast enough to get past these defenders and get to the rim fast enough, well, then you're not gonna be able to drive as well, right? And then if you can't create separation through deceleration, so you can't like snatch back, you can't like drive, sell going forward and then stop and shoot. If you can't do these things to get your shot off, then you're not going to be effective at NBA level. But if you're like strong and you can throw people around, it's just rebounding doesn't matter anymore. Like you backing people down in the paint doesn't, like, none of that is a thing anymore. It just doesn't happen. So it's like, I wouldn't say they need to bulk up personally, just because the game's different. Like they just don't play basketball the same way. You think average athlete can run sub 11 with perfect training over a few years? Last time I said this, it created a whole Reddit thread, right? I had 200-300 people all call me bullshit. That was just complete bullshit. And I'm just terrible coach, blah, blah, blah. Personally, I do believe so. Les Spellman, one of the best coaches of all time for speed development, he's a lot older. He usually only trains like usually the higher level athletes. But his perspective from everything he knows, and he's 10, 20 times more scientific than me, than like the best mentor I've ever had, right? He personally believes that 90% of athletes can run 10.6. And usually around that 10.6 range, that's when you start to cut off and you can't keep pushing it. It would be limited by genetics technically. Now, it depends on what you look at. Some people think 10.6 is just this like God, some people think that 11.0 is this like godly number that's so fast and like it's just unbelievable. Then some people think 11.0 is completely useless because it's like the slowest thing in the world when you compare it to 9A athletes. So it just depends. I personally think 11.0 is very fast, right? 10.9 is very fast when you compare it to the average person. If you see 10.9 in person, you'll be like, oh, like, yeah, you're moving. Now, if you see 10.9 run next to a 9.9 guy, then you're gonna be like, yeah, he looks slow. But that's just all like visual like discrepancies and stuff like that. So I personally do believe that sub 11 is possible for all athletes. And like, we're talking about like just average genetics, right? Like clearly, dude, if you have like a disability or like for some reason you're 5'3" at the age of 20, right? Like for whatever reason, you're like 5'4", 5'3" at the age of 20. Like, yeah, of course you are at a significant disadvantage. Pick a different sport, right? I don't know what to tell you. But like for the average like 5'7" goddamn Hispanic, 5'8" goddamn white guy, yes, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. Most of the reasons why you're not hitting the times you want is just from bad training. Yes, you can put in all the work you want. You can put in so much hard work, so much jogging, so much conditioning that feels difficult, and you're not going to get faster, right? Training has to be very good because sprinting is very hard to develop, but it doesn't mean that most people can't run 11 or sub 11. And every time, like the same thing, when I said it on Instagram and then it got posted on Reddit and I got fucking cooked by everyone, when you read all the fucking chats, all they say is, well, I tried all of high school and I couldn't even break 12 seconds. I tried for 10 years straight and I still couldn't. That's a skill issue, right? That is just a factual skill issue. So there you go. OMG, bro, I finally met you. When did you meet me? The guy who said, OMG, bro, I finally met you. When did you meet me? How do I fix my early rise to the blocks? You have to work on projection and then usually ankle mobility and your ability to rock the shin forward. So I have some videos on that if you want to look into that. If you had a 16-year-old sprinter with good top speed but weak start, what would you do to fix this in 4 weeks? You're not going to fix it in 4 weeks. It's just not going to happen, but improve ankle mobility, improve your ability to extend your hip, so full hip extension, range of motion, and mobility. Project better, improve your start, like mechanics, like the way you set yourself in your positions, all that type of stuff. And yeah. The NFL inflates their numbers, their verticals are sus too. Dude, like, what the hell am I fucking looking at? How are multiple athletes jumping 44 inches from a stand? What are we talking about? Have y'all seen 44 inches in person? I don't even jump. I'm dunking at 5'7". I maybe am I touching 44 from an approach. And I trained all the pro athletes, all the top guys. I've seen everything. I've seen everything in person, online, everything you can fucking see. What the fuck are we talking about, dude? Like, oh my God. Don't even get me started. Dude, the vertical jump might be the thing that's pissed me off the most. NFL vertical jump. Oh my God, I can't type. Dude, the NFL vertical jumps might be pissing me off the most. What are we talking about? Is this all the same year? What do you mean? You're trying to tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people jumping 42 inches or higher? That is bullshit. Have you seen a 42-inch vertical jump in person? Have you seen a 42-inch vertical jump in person? From a standstill? Are we being serious? No, it's inflated. No, they're butchering the goddamn wingspan, so everyone's jumping higher numbers by 3 to 5 inches. 3 to 5 inches. Not that many people are goddamn jump 45.5 inches. 45.5 inches from a standstill. Stop it. You could just do the air time. Just do the damn air time. Right? Measure the air time. Yes, will it be a little wonky? Of course, but you're going to tell if someone's jumping fucking goddamn 45 inches. Dude, the NFL Combine is just a fucking clown show nowadays. I'm sorry, you guys got me swearing like crazy right now, but it is a clown show. 45 inches? This is 45 inches? 45 inches? Have we seen Isaiah Rivera? Does anyone know the name Isaiah Rivera? What are we talking about? Oh my God. It actually gets me so worked up. I'm not gonna lie. The NFL Combine is just such a fucking joke. What is the best start stands for 5'10"? Watch my start video. It's this video right here. It's here. One second. My starting video is this thing. 0 to 10 meters, 11 minutes to fix your sprint start form, 0 to 10 meters. I talk about like height things too. Like I talk about like how to adjust your stance for like 5'8" or under, 6 foot of this. Like I do the whole thing. It's really well detailed. So check that out. Do you plan on competing in the 100 meter in the future? No, actually, this is the first time I'm going to announce this publicly. I'm actually doing Apex. So you guys know what Apex is? The competition that Tim Riley's running. My plan is to win Apex. Like I'm going to just shit on everyone in that competition, respectfully, of course. I think it's gonna be a great competition. There's probably some things I'll lose, like I won't win the bench press, I won't win the trap bar deadlift, but my goal is to win Apex, first place, no matter the competition. I don't care how good the competition is. My goal is to win Apex. So look up Apex by Tim Riley. OVR also does it, and OVR, we kind of have a sponsorship kind of cooking right now. Great company. So yeah, I will be doing Apex very soon. So I'll be running for people who don't know what Apex is, Apex comp. I'm not sure exactly what date I'm going to do it. It's going to be this year, within the next year. But Apex, essentially, you test your 40-yard dash. Let's do the categories. So Apex, you essentially test your, oh my God, I'm trying to find it where I can show it on screen really easily. So you test your 40-yard dash, right? This is all one day competition. You test your 40-yard dash, the vertical overhead med ball toss, your vertical jump from a 10-foot approach, or a 10-yard approach, and then your broad jump. And then for the strength side, you test your 405-pound trap bar deadlift for 60 seconds, so how many reps you can get, and then your bench press for how many reps you can get. And then endurance, you run a mile at the end. So it's in that order. It goes, I'm pretty sure it's 40-yard dash into med ball toss, into broad jump, into approach vertical jump, into trap bar deadlift, into bench press, into myo. And you test all of these on one big like kind of workout day, right? It's a competition with a bunch of people, and you get scored at all of it. My goal is to win the 40, to win the vertical, the med ball toss, to win the broad jump, and to win the vert. I can see myself getting second place in all of these three, and I can see myself just winning for the 40 yard, but probably getting second place in all of these, or like first through third place in these three, because I'm also really short. So like the broad jump's gonna be really hard, for example. The pull, my goal is top 5. The bench press is top 5, and the mile, I'm probably gonna go for the win. After looking at the times and just having a long distance running background, my goal is just to win the mile. So yeah, if I win the mile and then I win the 100, the 40 yard, that's already 500 points, which is gonna put me super high. And then if I just get like top 3 in all of these, then I'm gonna probably be perfectly fine in terms of winning Apex. My goal is to win Apex. That's what I'm competing in the next year. I haven't said that anywhere, so it's the first place I've announced it. It's not like a big deal, like no one cares, but like just for if you're like looking out for what I'm doing, that's what I'm working on right now. Yeah, the NFL has you thinking 35-inch vertical jump isn't amazing. Yeah, it's literally ridiculous. It pisses me off so much. Met me in high school, remember me? No, I'm kidding. I'm talking about meeting you here. You're so cool, bro. I appreciate it. I'm not cool at all. I'm just like a nerd. Oh, my video is doing well today. That's kind of cool. Probably because the standing reach measures aren't accurate. Yeah, they're just not measuring the wingspan correctly. The standing reach. It's just ridiculous. Realistically, as a 14-year-old, how much should I jump my 40-yard dash time when senior comes around? It just depends on where you're at. I have no idea. I would have to know where you're at and like your split times and all that stuff. It's a huge margin, like really, really big margin. You think sub 11 is possible for someone with perfect sprinting form? It has a lot more to do than perfect sprinting form. It's possible for most athletes, but perfect sprinting form is only like one aspect of it. Like it's like sprinting fast is so complex. There's so many things that go on physiologically, but form is one aspect, the biomechanics side of it. Yeah. I'm 23. Where can I find more opportunities to compete? I checked USATF events, but not a lot of sprint competitions in my area. I have no idea. Maybe try Apex. Travel, right? Like if you're able to travel and you're 23, you go travel. You know, I can't speak for everyone. I'm obviously in a blessed scenario to be able to travel a lot and like live a lot of life. Not everyone can do that. But if you can travel and compete, or just get OVR sprint and time yourself consistently so to make sure you're improving. So when you do get a chance to do a track meet, you can like go hard. You might be able to like I wouldn't say some high schools do this, but some like AU teams will like let you do like those local events and let adults just race themselves at a meet to get electronic timing like nearby. You just have to talk to some people, some event owners and stuff like that. Some hosters at some track meets. There might be like middle school track meets, but you might be able to just like sprint by yourself and shit like that, you know? And don't only look at USATF. There should be other stuff too. What are good apps where I can film my fly sprint time? So yeah, like if you want to film yourself, you just, you know, you have an Apple, you click this, right? And then you can just time yourself like this. You do subtract the ending for the start in the calculator, right? Just boom. Boom, you do the end time minus the start time. And then you could just film yourself with a tripod. Side view is usually the best view to gauge form at a general level. And then front view is good if you know what you're doing, but a lot of people can't tell anything from front view. So do a purely side view, bring a tripod really far back, and then you can just zoom in and watch yourself. Don't do up close. And like a lot of people, like they'll send me videos like judge my sprint form, and then they like put their fucking phone, like they like do this shit. It pisses me off so much. So like and put their phone on the floor. Judge my sprint form. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I can't see anything. What are you talking about? Go get a goddamn 10-minute tripod, bro. Go get a 10-minute tripod. Or $10. I'm saying 10 minutes. Oh my God, I'm getting tired. Go get a $10 tripod. What are you talking about, bro? All right. We're at two hours. Okay, let me. Can you beat Cody Bidlow? I don't know. Like, no disrespect to him. I'm just gonna run my times. Like, my goal is to go into Apex and run a 4.2 to 4.3. I'm going to train to get the splits, and yeah, that's just what I'm going to do. Like it has nothing. I'm not trying to compare to anyone. I don't care. Cody Billow's a great athlete. He's obviously older too. You got to remember, he's not my age. Cody's in his 30s or maybe close to his 40s, right? I'm in my 20s. So it's just a different ball game, obviously. We have different backgrounds, all that. But he did good. I think he won his 40 at like 4.4. My goal is just not run a faster time, and maybe I don't. But I'm not going to go to track meet. I'm not going to go to ABEX competition until I run like the times I want, and I'm not that far from them. So, run college meets unattached during winter, spring. Yeah, like there's definitely a bunch of like local college meets, AU meets that you can run at. It doesn't have to be USATF. Like do USATF when you're running the times where it really matters. But if you're not running like very good times yet, or they're not proven times yet, like you just done them hand time and stuff, like just go to some other meets first. Have you seen Ethan Simstone and Dylan McCarthy 52.5 inch? Yeah, they're legit. THP's guys are all legit. Any guys who are doing like the 50s from THP are legit. But like these like cheap artists talking about, like all the NFL guys is just not. Like literally, I remember I saw one that was like 44, 43 a few months ago at an NFL combine. I put in the airtime. I did all the airtime calculations, and it was like a 36. And I'm just like, where are we getting this from, bro? Like, literally, what is happening? You guys are just raw lying for the sake of lying for, like, the spectacle. But how far are we going to go? Are people just going to start jumping 50 inches from standstill? It's not possible. It's not going to happen ever. But in the NFL, shit, we might see 52 one day. Like fucking Dylan McCarthy and all of them, right? So it's like, what are we doing? Jason Kelsey's a cool guy. He can't dunk, but has the same vertical jump as Russell Westbrook. Laugh my ass off. He doesn't even believe that. Even he doesn't believe and says NBA is more athletic than NFL. Yeah, if you can't dunk and you're, Jason Kelsey's like 6'6", right? Yeah, no, bro. You not have a higher vertical jump than fucking Russell Westbrook. How tall is he actually? Someone can fact check me. I don't care. You just tell me. Do you have to qualify for college invitationals? I am new to track and field and currently run 11.9. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you're new to track and you're running 11.9, like, you probably don't need to go to USATF. Like, just improve your speed for a little while. Like, competing's awesome, but if all you've ran is 11.9, like, go get fast. It doesn't mean, like, train for 3 years and never compete, but, like, go train, bro. Like, go do, like, the Speed Academy and, like, get real number improvements and really improve, and then you go, like, to the bigger meets. But, like, don't just, like, compete year-round when you only run 11.9. I don't mean that in the rude way, but it's, like, you're, like, stunting your growth because you need a lot more general training than you think you do, right? So, like, going to meets, or, like, you get good competition, but, like, what's the benefit of that competition when you need more athletic traits developed, if that makes sense? Depending on your goals, right? It depends on what you want. Obviously, you're starting a little bit later, so maybe you just want to run, like, 10.9. Then, like, yeah, go train for a few months, and then try to get those times to drop a little bit more with the competition. It depends on the meet. 11.9 should be good for a lot of meets. I recommend looking at, like, go look at, like, some D3 colleges, some JUCO stuff, if you really, really want to compete. But I also suggest just training sometimes. Best way to improve vertical shin angles and projection during acceleration. A lot of resistance sprinting. What do you think about Kylian Mbappe? Are you talking about the soccer player? Soccer player, right? Are this exercise standards for power clean minimal goal? 1 times body weight, 1.3 times body weight rear foot elevated, 1.0 times body weight times 6 for trap bar deadlift. Oh, rear foot elevated 1.0 times body weight. Trap bar deadlift 2 times body weight. Hip thrust 2.5. CLA curl 1.4. Yeah, those are pretty similar to the numbers I threw up. If you're hitting those numbers or even close, you don't need more strength for speed. Lower leg sitting calf raise 2.2 times body weight. Soleus 2 times body weight. Yeah, like they're all close enough. Like they're all like, if you're close to those numbers, you're fine, bro. Can I do a muscle up? I have no idea. I have like a really bad shoulder injury right now that's been kind of messing with me. So doing pull downs in general have just been hard. Like I just, even if it's like 10 pounds body weight, whatever, like I just kind of been struggling with like vertical pulls because of my shoulder, my rotator cuff problem I've been having. I'm a high school junior going to senior year. My PRs from this year are 10.89, 22.52. Okay. I'm also running 6.64 in the 55 meter. What should I do to get stronger in the gym to get my Excel up? Yeah, so you need to check out this video right here. This does apply to you for sure, even for track and field and your times. Watch this. And then for like the gym, watch this, like what you want to do in the weight room. And then like one of my best videos that is actually one of my better videos is this one right here on how to strength train in the gym properly. It's like a really deep dive guide. It's 9 minutes. Really give you everything you need to know. I would do this. It gives you like tests too, and like what to test to know what to train and all that. I would go here. So those videos for you. Good work. Just Amari versus Adam Planetary. No, I actually like Adam. Like, that's the thing. I'm not even like trying to talk shit at all. It's just like I keep asking him to come train me, like let me train him. He keeps saying no. He's been running. He's like, I have this great plan and it's working. He's ran 10-9 for like a year. Like, boy, if you don't come over here, bro. Not even hating, bro. Who are your top 5 most influential coaches? For me, it's just Les and PJF and Joel Smith. Those are my top 3. That's all I got. There's obviously coaches that are like just as good, and I'm just not thinking of them, and it's not even disrespect to them, but like those guys made some really big differences in my career. But I would say like Joel Smith's content is not for the average. If you're just an athlete, like I wouldn't say you're gonna learn much. It's gonna be way too advanced. Les just doesn't give that much content. There's just not that much content out there. I just know him, like we talk, and then PJF is probably like a perfect middle ground. Like you would learn a lot as an athlete and as a coach. Jason Kelsey is 6'3". Cool. Ashton Hall, natty or not? Last one for the day. Ashton Hall's not natty. It's not even close. It's not a debate at all. It's not close. Is the abductor machine underrated? It's definitely underrated. Definitely. For speed too. I wouldn't say it's like gonna help speed, but for some movement patterns and compensations. Damn, he needs your help. He'll figure it out. What's up, my man? What's good? What's good, man? I've been on for 2 hours, 20 minutes. I really do need to stop. I'm getting tired. I'm getting very tired. Gassed, actually, some might say. That's not good. Okay. I think I am going to call it. Unless you guys have like a fire question up next. Yeah, I'm going to call it. Can you make the tier list, please? I dropped the tier list recently. It was more of like, I guess the title might have been a little bit misleading, but I was just going to start working on the exercises that I was going to put in the video and like just have people just list off exercises that I should put in the video, like more of like the scripting side of it. I wasn't like going to make the tier list today. So I probably could have reworded my title a little bit better. That's my bad. I was going to like find the images for each exercise and like that type of thing. Like it was more like setting up to record the video. The standards you read, I'm like 90% to the goal, except hang power clean. I started at 64, weight 150, need to increase to 1.1. I wouldn't say you need to increase it. I don't think you need to hit those goals at all, but I don't think they're bad goals. Like if you're like in that ballpark range, you're probably fairly strong, and like hitting it and then just kind of coasting and working on rate of force development from there would probably be helpful. Okay. I am about to fall asleep. I think I'm going to call it that there. Thank you guys for watching. If you're rewatching this on YouTube, hop on the Speed Academy. Top link in the description or pinned comment, or look up justamari.com. Hop on the Speed Academy, one of the best programs for increasing your speed. If you don't want to pay me money, I don't need you to, right? You don't need to get my app. Just get my free program. It's on my Instagram. You'll find it somewhere. Text me the word free on Instagram in the DMs, like the word free by itself, nothing else, just free. Don't put anything else, just the word free. I'll get you a free 8-week program for beginners. What else am I forgetting? Yeah, so hop on the Speed Academy, get my free program, watch my videos, get faster, actually train correctly, work with intention. Thank you for watching very much. Oh, that's actually a really good question before I hop off. What do you think about coaches saying you need to be at X yards per X steps? I will say the one thing that is very legit is 7 yards per 10, or 10 yards per 7 steps. So you need to be at step 7 at 10 yards and you need to be landing on your hip. That is very good metric. There's actually good metrics for everything. Like, I think Ralph Mann is his name. The really good like sprints biomechanics coach. He has like a really good list of like all this data metrics of like steps you need to hit and like projection angles and all these things that you need to hit by X step and X velocity by step XYZ, like really, really good stuff. And it's all legit. Okay. I think I'm actually gonna call it there. All right, peace out. Wait, there's one more question. What's your thoughts on EMOMs for Olympic lifts? Also, what are your thoughts on pauses and lowering eccentric movements? I like pauses. I like lowering eccentric movements for specific goals. EMOMs on Olympic lifts are just like, it's not going to be like this game changer. All right. Thank you, everybody. Deuces. How about Speed Academy or free program? Something.